Molson Canadian Sunday Night Classics on Leafs TV. It's a Canadian game. Brought to you by Molson Canadian.
It's May the 9th, 1993, and the Toronto Maple Leafs are in St. Louis preparing for Game 4 of the Norris Division Final. You're watching Molson Canadian Sunday Night Classics on Leafs TV. The Blues are led by Brett Hull, Craig Janney, and Brendan Shanahan. The Maple Leafs counter with Doug Gilmour, Dave Andreychuk, and Wendell Clark. Hello once again, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Sunday Night Classics here on Leafs TV. Well, it's been a magical ride through the 1992-93 season for the long-suffering Leafs and their fans. Pat Burns' team has enjoyed a 99-point season. The heroics of Doug Gilmour in a dramatic overtime Game 7 victory over the Detroit Red Wings. But now the Leafs find themselves trailing the Blues 2-1 in the Norris Division Final. This after two marathon overtime games in Toronto, won by the Leafs 2-1 in Game 1, but lost by the same score in Game 2. And so the Blues have returned home to win Game 3 by a 4-3 count. Therefore, this afternoon, the encounter in St. Louis is the earliest game the Maple Leafs have ever played, a noon-hour start. It is time for Game 4 of the Norris Division Final. The Leafs trailing 2-1, as you're going to see the superintendents of the string shanties being, for the Blues, Curtis Joseph, and for the Maple Leafs, it is rookie goaltender Felix Potvin. You're watching Molson Canadian Sunday Night Classics on Brett Hull notched 54 and Brendan Shanahan had 51. Craig Janney also enjoyed a 106-point season. The Leafs will counter with a checking unit of Zezel, Berg, and Osborne, and a lot of Doug Gilmour, who had 32 goals and 127 points. Harry Neale had a marvelous junior career with the Toronto Marlboros, winning the Memorial Cup in 1956 despite his efforts on defense. He would then turn his attention towards coaching, first at the Ohio State Buckeyes in the NCAA, in the University League, and then the World Hockey Association with stops in Minnesota and Hartford before becoming coach and then general manager in Vancouver with the Canucks. Better known to Leaf fans as an outstanding color analyst and an all-star defenseman on the Marlboro defense, but he joins us anyway as our analyst here tonight as we go back to May the 9th, 1993.
And this Toronto St. Louis series was one of the better ones that I've watched. Those first two games in Toronto. Was it hot enough for you there?
Oh, hot. It was unbelievably hot. And the worst thing I can recall is the late Jim Proudfoot arriving in the press box wearing shorts and these strings hanging down that unfortunately were his legs. It was hot. You're right. Well, let's go back to those two games and revisit them. 1-1 tie in double overtime as we go to Game 1.
McCown kept it in. McCown's drive. A high riser on the dash, stop on the other side by Gill. Gilmour back in the net. Andreychuk in front with Borshevsky. It is Gilmour waiting around the net. Waiting, he's open. Gilmour! Solo job! And he's won it in the second overtime period. How about that?
And that set the stage for Game 2, and it was even hotter that night.
You know what I really enjoyed that night, though? Midway through the third period when the PA announcer, Paul Morris said, everyone stand up and you're allowed to peel your wet underwear off your rear end.
It was pretty close. And that game went into double overtime as well.
Cleared to center ice by St. Louis. Rouse bangs it back in. Zezel will pick it up on the boards for Pearson. He missed it. And the Blues send three away. Janney is coming in there. Janney gets in! Big side rebound! Score! The Blues get the winning goal. Jeff Brown, the defenseman, comes up. And Brown put it home to defeat the Maple Leafs 3-0-3 into a second overtime period. And the series is tied.
What was most ironic about this series was that, well, the Leafs first off had to play 3 consecutive overtime games. Borshevsky's winning goal in Game 7 in Detroit, then the first 2 games at home. But the St. Louis arena was air-conditioned.
And Maple Leaf Gardens
And
wasn't.
Maple Leaf Gardens wasn't. And I can remember walking down those winding staircases and people just trying to get some air during the overtimes would have opened up the windows. And so the warm, moist air from outside, and it was well over 95 degrees outside, would condense on the stairs. Yeah. And more than a few people took the express route down those stairs when they hit the top one, and it was just like sliding on ice, because down you went. It was a scary spot, but it was really ironic. And how that old building, and I can only imagine what the ice was like for the second overtime period in both games.
And I can only imagine the weight loss for the players who had to play bruising 2 games in inhumane conditions.
And they were physical.
Right.
Every game was physical. It was to the point the Blues return home after the Brown goal that ties the series and win Game 3, 4-3, and set the stage for this Mother's Day extravaganza.
Well, not many of the mothers would want to be around in this series if their sons were playing, because it was a dangerous place to be.
Well, we're going to look forward to it. It's a very early start, noon hour actually, to accommodate United States television, and it's Mother's Day. And so the Leafs and the St. Louis Blues are preparing for Game 4.
Is such a big, huge, important game for the Maple Leafs. He feels if they win this one, they'll take the series.
Well, he says bad penalties, another lousy second period, and too many passengers along just for the ride were the 3 main reasons for the defeat in Game 3. Those problems are solvable, he says. He starts out by taking Pearson and Cullen out of the lineup and inserting Mironov. And Eastwood.
And he's going to start McCown, Lefebvre, Zezel, Osborne, and Berg. Butcher and Brown will start for St. Louis on the blue line. Shanahan, Emerson, and Janney, the forward line. Brown shoots it in. Emerson coming up there, and he was hit. Janney just barely got away from Zezel's hit. Emerson around the net, centered it. Berg there in front of his own goal, but he was slow in moving it out. Now the Leafs dump it to the line, and it's still in there. Emerson's pass. The Blues pressure early. First shot by Shanahan. Off the blocker, a Potvin. And into the crowd, and the crowd loves the way the Blues have started here this afternoon.
Well, probably the best St. Louis Blue forward in Game 3 was Brendan Shanahan, and he was rather invisible, I thought, in Games 1 and 2. But Janney, Shanahan, Hull, for sure, and you can toss in Nelson Emerson. Pretty tough to keep these guys off the score sheet night after night. Ron Caron, the general manager of the St. Louis Blues, and his familiar post across the rink from the benches. And Cliff Fletcher to the right of Bob in my location here, sitting with Rick Walmsley and Mike Kitchen.
Wilson is on there to take the draw for St. Louis. Basil McRae on the left side. And Brett Hall, the right winger. Butcher and Brown remain the 2 defensemen for the Blues. Krushelnyski for the Maple Leafs against McRae. Krushelnyski tied him up. Wilson knocked the puck into the corner, went after it. Foligno checked him. Anderson is the other forward for the Maple Leafs. And the Blues are taking it to the Leafs in the first minute of this opening period. And a shot to the line and barely out. Fired back in. McRae has to get back on the side. Lefebvre miscued. Krushelnyski knifed it away to center ice. The Blues shoot it back in there. Leafs having a tough time getting on track. 1 minute into the opening period. Now then, it is Foligno to center. Anderson is going in there hard. Gets it. Fired a hot shot. And Joseph, boy, I'll tell you, that was a well-executed play by the Leafs. Anderson knew what was happening and took it off the boards and ripped it right away. But Joseph was there.
Let's have a look at the Leaf scratches. They've made 2 lineup changes, as we mentioned. Pearson out, Cullen out, and in goes Mironov and Eastwood. I think the St. Louis Blues, this is the 8th straight game that they've gone with exactly the same lineup. And why would they change it? They've lost but 1 game and 1-6 in the '93 playoffs. Glenn Anderson is on the right end of a good shoot-in. Diagonal shoot-in off the end of the rink. Joseph doesn't move his glove. Anderson shoots it right into his glove, but you can see Joseph did not give Anderson a lot of room on that bad angle shot.
1:09 into the first period. First shot on goal, the one you just saw by Anderson on Joseph. That is Emerson out of position. Haven't dropped it yet. Now it's in. Barron takes it around the net for the Blues. They start to center. Shanahan, long shot, hot bang, kicked out the left pad and stopped that. Anderson, he saw his man open on the right side. Borshevsky couldn't get the puck over there. Emerson ran into Todd Gill. Puck is shot in. That is Janney coming around the net. Long pass to the left wing boards and bounces high. And the Leafs take over it again. Up to center, Gilmore. On the right side, Borshevsky. He's in there, one man back. He turned around, and Shanahan then got back for St. Louis. Laid it ahead. Basson coming out with Sutter. Rich Sutter chasing it deep in the Leaf zone. Good hustle by Sutter, but he missed the puck. Gilmore picked it up, and that's icing against the Blues.
Now, Rich Sutter gave it a royal attempt to take the icing away as he hustled like only the Sutters do hustle. He could not quite reach it, but it was quite a race. You can see Sutter starts out from behind Dave Allen, but then passes him, but can't get his stick on it. And of course, the main obstacle for the Leafs is Curtis Joseph in this series. He stopped 152 out of 150 shots on goal. And although I thought he looked a little more like a normal goaltender in Game 3, the Leafs couldn't get the big one on him. And he has stopped in this series 2 fewer shots than he stopped in the entire Chicago series. So, from any angle, Bob, he's a stingy goaltender.
He's proven that for sure in this series, this playoff year. Chicago gone thanks to great work of Curtis Joseph. And now they lead the Leafs 2-1 in this best of 7. Scene will shift to Maple Leaf Gardens for Game 5 on Tuesday. In around the net. Blues shoot it away. It went behind Hull and down the ice. Towel just ripped it. And they'll do it again. Another icing call against St. Louis.
Well, the St. Louis Blues have had a great playoff. They have the fewest losses of any team in the 93 playoffs won. They've given up the least number of goals, only 12 to be number 1. And they're one of 2 teams that is undefeated at home. They're 3-0 here at the St. Louis Arena. And the red-hot Montreal Canadiens are the other team, 5-0 at the Old Forum. Now we've got a St. Louis Cardinal in here watching this game. They don't charge a lot, but he's flying around. He flies one end to the other, so he's always had a good look at the net.
Face-off is to the right of Curtis Joseph once again. They played 2:13 of the opening period. No score. Just a shot apiece so far. So a cautious start. Shanahan will take the draw against Mike Eastwood. As Harry mentioned, inserted in the lineup again for the Maple Leafs today. Intel and Lowry, and they get the puck up to center ice. Wilson can't catch it. The Leafs are on it. Rouse backs up in his own zone. He has McCown. McCown's pass ahead to Wendell Clark. Clark is bumped. Vanderbilt is on the line with Clark and Eastwood. Pat Burns shakes it up a little bit. Vanderbilt missed it. He tried to chop it in. No icing. That's been waved off. Quintal back to the net, starting the Blues out. Wilson moved it to center. Rouse was back there along with McCown. Pass to Clark. It bounced away from Clark. Quintal hit Clark. He's going in alone. Clark scores. Wendell Clark. Giveaway inside the St. Louis blue line, and Clark just ambled in there and ripped the hard one by Joseph. 1-0 Toronto.
Well, the St. Louis Blues were fairly guilty, I thought, in Game 3 in their own zone of giving it away. And here's a perfect example of a St. Louis player tossing the puck into the middle of the rink. He was hurried because he was being checked. And there's the scouting report on Joseph. Go up high, but hesitate a little bit before you do. Watch Joseph go down now. And Clark goes up now, and it's 1-0.
Harry, what was it you mentioned the other day? You were talking to Rick Wamsley of the Maple Leafs, the goaltending coach now, about Joseph going down. It appears he might give you the top.
Well, when his timing's on, he's like Balfour, and as a matter of fact, he's like Potvin. When his timing's on, the opening isn't there, but when it's a little off, and he's down a little early, it is.
Weak shot from Miller, missed the goal. 1-0 now, Toronto on Clark's goal. He went high and really ripped a hard one in there. Over the shoulder of Curtis Joseph. The Blues now trying to get that one back. 2:58 was the time of Clark's goal. Unassisted, it was a giveaway inside the blue line. Blues. Miller in on the boards. The Leafs break it up, and 3 of them skate to center ice. Here's Gilmore taking the pass. Gilmore slides it in for Borshevsky. He centered it. Joseph can't get his hand on it. Borshevsky is in. Can't get a backhander away. He's upended, but the Leafs came close again. The Blues shoot it into the Toronto zone, and Ellen fired it on the boards and put it back to center ice. Ellen was hidden there by Miller. Nearing the 5-minute mark of the first period. Leafs with the first goal, lead 1-0. Berg stopped the pass. Emerson backhands a high one in over the net. Ellen takes over, and Emerson comes in to stand in front of Felix Potvin. Cecil circles the net, trying to get away from Emerson. He did, poked it to center ice, and the play is called. Here's a penalty coming up to St. Louis, and Emerson tripped the Leaf player, Cecil. He's Clark gives Leafs a 1-0 lead here in the first period. Now a power play.
Well, Peter Zezel's beating Nelson Emerson in a foot race out of the Leaf zone, and you can see Emerson hooks him from behind. Borshevsky had a great chance, but lost control of the puck as he was ready to backhand it, and then was knocked down in front of the St. Louis net. St. Louis having trouble starting the game again tonight, as they did in Game 3.
Toronto 1, St. Louis no score. Here in Game 4 at the arena in St. Louis. The Leafs power play. This is the first power play of the hockey game. Up to center is Gill. He shoots it in. Joseph out of the net. Gilmore centered it. Joseph covered up quickly. Again, the Leafs are on the puck back to the line. Todd Gill slides it in on the boards. And it's fired to center by Brown. Leafs have it again. Ellen ripped it in. Off the boards in the corner, it comes to Andrechuk. He and Gilmore with Clark. Clark is back of the net. Fired it on the boards. To the line is Gill. And now Allen. His weak shot is stopped in front of Joseph. 3 Blues were there in front of the net. And Sutter takes it in on the left side. He can't beat Todd Gill. Gilmore will come from the corner. Out to the line near center. Lowry is on the ice now with Miller, the penalty killers. Pass in on the open wing. Ellen made a fine play to keep it in deep for Clark. Back of the net, Andrechuk, and he lost it. It'll be Hedican who'll bring it out for St. Louis. Up to the Leaf line with Lowry. Hedican bumped, and Andrechuk takes over. Stick handles out of his own zone. Now he drops it back. Borshevsky finding some room on the far side. Over the St. Louis line. Andrechuk coming for the net. Trying to make the play on Zombo. He's tied up, but he gets loose. Andrechuk then gave it away to Miller. And Miller brings it up to center and then shot it in. McCown. Here's McCown again. Over the Blues line. McCown is going in on goal. Got through the crease. Another shot. Polino dropped it back right in front of the net. Borshevsky waited a second too long. The penalty is over. Sutter is coming in for St. Louis. Ripped the hard shot that Potvin blocked. 1-0 Toronto. The Blues have killed off the penalty. Intel at his own line. Hit it up over center. Foligno takes over. He and Krushelnyski with Borshevsky. Borshevsky backs off from a hit. And Rouse was there to stop the Blues. Borshevsky again over the line, and he fed it over on that far side. It was cleared by Bozon. This is Janney getting in. Low shot, Potvin the save. Janney made a beautiful move to get in for that shot. LePage. At the 8-minute mark, first period, 1-0 Toronto. But the Blues are getting organized. Flipped in by Jeff Brown. Leafs dump it down the ice. This will be an icing call. As Brown comes back, he touches it. That is icing against the Toronto Maple Leafs, who are leading 1-0.
The one thing about Gilmore, we all know it's great offensive season, but this guy can be a dominant player defensively. Any night he thinks that he has to do that because perhaps his offense has slipped a little. And there aren't many players who can do both those things in the same game. Gilmore can.
Started this game playing as a defenseman many years ago.
Said he was a 120-pound defenseman.
Face off to the right of Potvin. 1-0 Toronto. Clark the goal. Potvin, stick save on a shot to the blue line. Clark played it up, one man back. Vanderbilt coming in. Eastwood, though, hustling across the line as Vanderbilt moved to the far side, and it was offside.
A little bit of inexperience showed up here in this rush, and Vanderbilt, when it's a 2-on-1, now he thinks it's a 1-on-1 now, but he keeps going wide instead of getting the puck over the line, and he could have been able to put Eastwood in. I'm sure Vanderbilt's talking to himself about that. But I think with Eastwood, Vanderbilt, and Clark, they're looking for a line that's going to get a lot of hits and do a lot of good fortune.
Kent Vanderbilt will be in the studio in our second intermission to chat with Ron McLean. 9:02 left in the first period. 1-0. Maple Leafs are leading. Center ice and rolls inside the Leaf line. Gill is back. Elster forechecking. Gill pulled away from him. He wants to come out with the puck. He wants to bring it in himself, and he does as far as the line and backhands it in around the net. He's in position for a shot now. That's deflected high over the net. Clark keeping it in. Eastwood with him. Clark and Eastwood. Clark ran into his man. Eastwood is allowed to go around the net. Eastwood comes out front. Clark there. And a play called. Quintel and Eastwood were going at it at the far side. And there's another penalty called.
Assisted goal on him. Ooh, bit of a bad giveaway.
Stefan Quintel, I don't know what he was thinking. He thought he could pass the puck through Clark and didn't, and Wendell walked in, and with that big wrist shot we know he's got, he made it 1-0.
Glenn Anderson is a part of this team acquired by Cliff Fletcher to provide some Stanley Cup leadership. And here is a guy, well, I'll tell you, when they published that book, Characters of the National Hockey League, a chapter for Glenn Anderson is reserved. He was a strange individual. He had marched to his own drummer, but when the big games were on the line, this guy took his game to another elevation.
I've always said this about Glenn Anderson. The first player who reminded me of the Rocket Richard, cutting in on the wrong wing, fighting off the defenseman, dangerously crashing into the goalie or the goal post, fearless in that regard. And he had great foot speed, and early in this game you can see a diagonal shoot in, and Anderson just took off, and there wasn't a St. Louis Blue who's ever played that could have caught him. And he ends up getting a chance. He didn't score, but boy, he could really skate, and he was fearless.
Now, we talked about a physical game in games 1 and 2. Game 3 was much the same. The Leafs played a physical brand of hockey. Their defense was a nasty bit of business in front of the net. And Garth Butcher, who is never going to make you think of Bobby Orr in one breath, is maybe one of the more premier people in the St. Louis Blue Line that's going to apply some physical play.
Well, if you go to the front of the net and Butcher happens to be assigned to you, he makes life miserable. And you're going to see in this first period where he cross-checks Dave Anderchuk, big-time cross-checks, twice or maybe 3 times. Finally, Anderchuk's had enough, and he turns around and swats Butcher right over the side of the head and gets the penalty. But Butcher got the message.
Yeah, and maybe should have had about 8 penalties of his own.
In today's game where they called cross-checking during the national anthem, he'd have been in there for 6 minutes.
Well, at any rate, the Leafs have the lead in game number 4 as Wendell Clark has scored at 2:58. Let's go back upstairs for more.
Well, I mentioned that Eastwood, Clark, and Manderville would be tough on the forecheck, and they'd really challenge the defensive zone coverage of the Blues. And here they did it. And finally, Cantel has to tackle Manderville for the penalty.
So another power play for the Maple Leafs. They lead 1-0. Gallant from the blue line. He and Gill are the two defensemen. Borshevsky is hammered by Brown. Gilmore gave it to Borshevsky. Back to Allen. Shoots. Rebound is there. And the Blues will pick it up. Miller shot it down the ice. Butcher was slow getting up. He's not up yet. He's down on one knee in front of Curtis Joseph. And now they've called the play. He and Andrechuk had bumped together, and Andrechuk is getting a penalty.
Well, Butcher gives you a tough time, without question. And it is a high stick. Now, Butcher's tough on guys that stand in front. There's a cross-check. Here's another cross-check from behind. Now, Andrechuk is only going to take so much of this. And then he's going to cuff Butcher. And if you don't cuff a guy that does that, then you're going to keep taking that stuff. So it's the old story. You got to draw the line in the sand. When the guy comes over the line, you got to treat him properly. Jeff Brown, I think St. Louis' best defenseman, puts Borshevsky into the living room of millions of Canadians.
8:02 left in the first period. Toronto won. St. Louis no score. A minute 34 left in the Blues penalty. Andrechuk now starts his. Butcher kept the puck in. They are 4-on-4 at this moment. Miller. Back to Jeff Brown. And here's Butcher again. Moved it up to the leaf line. It got by McCown. He tried to stop it with a skate. Mironov on. Mironov coming out of his own zone. His pass. Relay. And it's Gilmore at center having to go back on Basson, but Basson steals it. Shoots it in. A minute left in the St. Louis penalty. Gilmore starts away. Dances up to the blue line and comes to center. Borshevsky gets loose, coming in, takes the shot. Joseph cutting the angle. Made that stop look easy, and he held it.
Well, St. Louis is the only rink in the National Hockey League where the visiting team is supplied with a policeman on the bench. And the Toronto Maple Leafs, there is the officer that stands on the bench. He's got a gun, fully equipped. Pat Burns said if a couple of them, and a former constable, Pat Burns said if we have a couple of shifts like we had in the second period, I'm going to borrow that guy's revolver to make a point. We can't play that way. The reason he's there is, serious reason he's there is, a long time ago they had 2 or 3 severe incidents, fans on the bench with the players. And so they solved it by putting a policeman there to help control whatever fan might decide to get a little too rambunctious.
Toronto comes on with Krushelnyski and Anderson. Gill and Ellen. 4 skaters aside. 48 seconds from now, Quintal will be out of the penalty box. Andrechuk has 1:14 left in his penalty. Shanahan for the Blues. Emerson with him. And from the faceoff, Butcher takes it back to the net. He and Brown are the 2 Blues defensemen. That is Brown's pass to center ice. Emerson brings it over the leaf line. Can't get by Allen. Krushelnyski got back. Shot around the net. Potvin has to smother it with Emerson cruising in there. And Shanahan dangerous.
Well, Nelson Emerson, the speedy little right winger with the St. Louis Blues, has only scored 1 goal in the playoffs. He has 4 assists for 5 points, but he's a dangerous little guy on a lot of rushes. And on the power play, he's pretty creative at the point. A small guy in measurements, but a big guy the way he plays. He's fearless, and he's going to the net there, and he knows before he goes that that's a tough place to live.
6 minutes and 57 seconds remaining in period 1. 30 seconds left in the St. Louis penalty, and 56 in the penalty to the Leafs. Andrechuk. 1-0. Toronto leads. Wendell Clark scored the goal, unassisted. Face off to the left of Potvin. This crowd so far is quiet, waiting for Hull and the rest to do something. Hull can't get in for a shot. Held it to Berg, and Berg fired it from center ice. Joseph stopping it behind the net. Here's Brown. He got away. Zensel trying to pin him. Hull coming up with Janney. Hull hangs onto it. Fired a pass on an open wing, and Berg was there. Berg is stopped. Hull again. The pass up to the line to Janney. Janney trying to go in on Ellen. Ellen playing the man all the way. I don't think he even looked at the puck. It is cleared down the ice. Icing waved off. The Blues have the extra man on there now. Their penalty over. And only 10 seconds left in the Kamarchuk penalty now. It is shot in. Zombo moving up along the board, centered it. Links in front of the net. McCown and Eastwood. He had a stick lifted. The Blues keep it in. Leafs are at full strength now. Pass back. Bullet shot by Hull. Penalty coming up again against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Turning around is Brown. They have the extra man on the net empty, and look what happens. Had that puck been hit a little harder and a little deeper, empty net down at the other end. Eastwood comes back in his own zone, and as he picks it up, here's another Leaf penalty being called. 5 minutes, 34 seconds left to play in the first period, and Mike Eastwood gets the gate.
Well, he knocked the St. Louis Blue player down in front of the net 20 seconds ago. That went a long time on a delay before the Leafs could touch the puck. Take a look at the right-hand side of your screen here, and you will see the penalty right there on Shanahan. As Shanahan tried to come out from behind the net, he was tackled by Mike Eastwood.
Wendell Clark scored for the Maple Leafs at 2:58 of this first period. An unassisted goal. The only scoring play so far. Blues, another power play. They try to climb back in it. Pass hit on the boards. Brown and Emerson at the line. It's Brown taking the pass to Emerson. Emerson ahead with it. Belsner turning back to Emerson. In with a shot that's blocked in front. Belsner grabs it off. Felix Potvin pad into the corner as they work it back to Brown at the line. Another pass to Miller. He shot right and score. Belsner was open, and the Blues have tied it on a power play.
Well, the rookie Felsner standing off to the left of Potvin gets a bit of a break as this shot was stopped by the Leaf defenseman and came right down on his stick. Had the shot not hit the Leaf defenseman's stick right here, Osborne, it would have gone right past Felsner. But as it turned out, it slowly went there, and he made no mistake.
Wide open net for Felsner at 14:59, while Eastwood was in the penalty box.
Denny Felsner, the University of Michigan last year, got hurt early in training camp, went to Peoria, was recalled late in the season, and has been a nice addition, gets his second goal of the 93 playoff.
Brown and Miller assisted on the goal by Felsner. It is 1-1 now. So the power play once again comes through for St. Louis. Zombo coming from his own zone, a long lead pass, doesn't work. Gray went up and bumped LeFave. Polino drilled one. Here's a puck coming right back to Anderson. And the Blues, Hull shot it quickly down the ice. No icing. 4:25 remaining in the first period. 1-1. Up to center on the long shot. Off Joseph's stick. Polino for Anderson. Back to Polino to Anderson again. Anderson comes out, but the net is off the moorings in behind Joseph, and why not? There was such a crowd in there.
Joseph was really stung by the Mike Foligno slap shot coming off the right wing, and he's still in pain.
14:59, Felsner from Miller and Brown, and we're tied. Here in the arena in St. Louis, the Leafs and the Blues are tied 1-1. And the Blues are on the move. Pass in by Hedican to the corner is Miller. Miller pinned in on the boards by Gill. Rich Sutter digs it out, centered it off Potvin stick. Zombo kept it in. Andrechuk is bumped by Miller. Zombo slides it along the boards. The Leafs get it out finally to center ice. But the Blues are moving up. Hedican slapped it back in, and they're making changes now. Toronto trying to get organized at this point. 3.5 minutes left in the first. In a 1-1 tie, and the shots are even at 8 apiece. Clark for Toronto. Felsner on a power play for the Blues. Here's Allen. Allen shoots one in. Felsner bumped him. Joseph out of the net, stopping it for Brown. It'll be kept in by Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt and Clark with Eastwood. Two players hit Clark in the corner, but he rolls off that. Now he falls, and the puck there. Eastwood comes in to help him. Clark is spun around again by Shanahan. Out. Vanderbilt ran into Felsner. Clark got charged up and went back to hit Butcher. There's Clark. Tipped the puck to center. Pintel fired one in over the Leaf line. Vanderbilt takes a look and skates down the right side. Vanderbilt going in with Rouse. Vanderbilt back of the net. He's going to draw a penalty. The Blues will get a penalty on this one. Gilmore gets set. Centered one. It hit a stick and bounced to the corner. Barron over. He touches it. And here's a penalty being called against the St. Louis Blues with 2 minutes and 23 seconds remaining in the first period in a 1-1 tie.
Murray Barron's going to get it again, trying to handle Manderville on the defensive zone coverage. Manderville, Eastwood, and Clark have caused all kinds of trouble for the St. Louis Blues. And here it is right here. One hand off the stick and right around the neck of Manderville, who's a big, strong boy. And Barron takes the penalty with 2:23 to go, and the Leafs get a chance to go ahead on a power play.
2:23 left in the first. Score tied. 1-1. Mironov back there for Toronto. Gilmore slides a pass back. And Gill had it poked off his stick near his own line. Miller moving up with Wilson. He took his shot. That hit the Leaf defenseman Gill. Andrechuk lost it to Wilson. And the Leafs get it back. Gill behind the net. Wilson. Real pest in there, forechecking for the St. Louis Blues. He is going off now as Gill was bumped shooting it in. Hedican sailed right into him. Minute 45 left in the period. It went over the boards at the St. Louis bench, and the play is called.
Well, Mark Fawcett, one of the finer young referees in the National League, is getting his first division final assignment in his short career. His father, Joe Fawcett, Springfield, Mass, is here today to watch his son work. And Joe was an official in the American Hockey League, Mark's father, for 17 years, and ended up getting a chance to work 5 NHL games when the regular official couldn't get to Boston. So officiating runs deep in the Fawcett family.
Shots are 8 apiece. The Blues on a power play have tied it. Felsner with that tying goal after Clark had scored unassisted for the Maple Leafs. It is 1-1 now with 1 minute and 20 seconds left in the Murray Barron penalty. The Leafs on a power play. Foligno, Krushelnyski, Gilmore, Mironov, and Ellen. Face off to the right of Curtis Joseph. Blues win the draw. Mironov stopped it, however. A pass right in front of the net. And the pass could not be handled by Gilmore cleanly. He was in there alone. Hard pass by Mironov. Now the Leafs come out with it. Across the line is Krushelnyski, trying to dump it in for Gilmore. But Butcher was all over him. Foligno takes over. He circles back to the line. Now leaves it for Ellett. Ellett has Marinov open. But he goes the other way to Foligno, who takes the shot. Then stop the rebound. Scramble. Foligno, another shot. And it's kicked back in the net by Butcher. The Leafs are pressing. Coming in is Marinov, pinching it along the boards. Into the final minute with 35 seconds left of the penalty to the Blues. The Leafs coming close here. Marinov. Gilmore had moved out toward the line, and Marinov just threw it in there. Krushelnyski to Gilmore. Krushelnyski again. Back to Gilmore once more. He's back in the net. Out front, Krushelnyski and Foligno. It's the Blues. Lowry can't move it out. Slapped in there on the boards, Gilmore. In comes Foligno. 25 seconds left in the period. The Leafs trying to center it. Foligno takes a shot. Comes back at his man. He's upended. 3 or 4 players hit the deck. And the penalty to Barron is over.
Murray Barron's out on the ice, and there's 1 second left in the penalty on the clock.
Yes. Out early. The game is still open.
You can get another penalty for that. And don't forget, the minor officials are not from St. Louis. So Murray Barron was waiting for the clock. The Leafs have seen it and are going over to bring it to the attention of Mark Fawcett. And if, in fact, Barron left without permission, he'll get another 2 minutes for leaving the penalty box too early.
The off-ice officials are from Chicago. Fawcett is over there now, and so's the captain, Wendell Clark, and here comes Hull. Aaron goes back in.
Fawcett's got a good demeanor about him. He's saying, look, and I'm going to take care of this, boys. Don't worry. Don't you be bothering me. I'm going to give the penalties and find out all the information that I have to. Refereeing in the playoffs can be best described as the profession of standing between 2 7-year-olds with 1 ice cream cone. Here's a good example of it right here.
24.4 seconds left in the first period. We're tied at 1. Barron came out of the penalty box. I saw him get into the play. Assumed that the penalty was over, and you're right on. There's 1 second, Harry, left up on the penalty clock. Now, obviously, it was clean. What I mean by that is that the off-ice official told him to leave. So we have to assume, as Fawcett is still there, talking to the penalty timekeeper. If he left on his own, of course, as you point out, it's another penalty.
Well, Fawcett's back there for the 1 second. The 2 people who got the penalty, let's listen here now.
Foligno, number 26, Mike Krushelnyski. For St. Louis, number 5, Garth Butcher, and number 10, Dave Lowry. All get 2 minutes for roughing.
There's the last chance for the Leafs, and the scramble that went on after brought out the scuffle. Butcher and Lowry get penalties for St. Louis. Krushelnyski and Foligno get them for the Leafs, and with only 24 seconds left, they don't put him in the penalty box. They send him to the dressing room.
The score is tied here in Game 4. The Blues are up 2-1 in the series. Winning, of course, in Toronto in double overtime after the Leafs won the first in double overtime. And then coming here at home and winning Game 1 here. After this, the scene shifts to Maple Leaf Gardens for Game 5 on Tuesday. So Barron is back in the penalty box with a second left to serve and a face-off to the left of Curtis Joseph.
The Leaf point man ought to remember, Bob Rouse just reminded Jamie McCowan, the guy's coming out of the box, don't forget that.
Gilmore will try to win it for the Leafs. Puck dropped in, Leafs won the draw. McCown, shot in front, tipped by Borshevsky, but missed the net. Now the Blues are at full strength. Gilmore back in the net, trying to knock it out front. Bumping in there is Anderson. He and Zombo collide a couple of times. The Leafs keep it in. Not for long. Barron takes it and shoots it down to the Leaf blue line. And that's the end of period number 1 here in St. Louis. The shots were by the Maple Leafs, 10, and by St. Louis, 8. The scoring, Clark unassisted at 2:58. Felsner power play, 14:59.
Well, the referees and linesmen have got the two teams separated. Here in St. Louis, the Blues take the far end of the ice from where they come on to the ice, and so the teams have to skate through each other.
I guess in most rinks they should do this, but in St. Louis it became a mainstay as there is a police officer standing in the visitors' bench.
And when I was coaching Vancouver and we went in there 2 or 3 times a year, we had the same guy, so I got to know him a little bit. And this one game, our top line of Smeel, Gradine, and Fraser had 2 goals scored against them in the first 40 seconds of the game. And I turned to the policeman and I said, "Can I just borrow that gun? I'm not going to shoot it." And he said, "Harry," he said, "if they ever see this, I'll be fired." I said, "They won't see it." And he gave me the gun, and when Smeel, Gradine, and Fraser came off, I had the gun in front of me, and I said, "One more shift like that from you 3 dodos, and you're going to be dead."
And you meant it. And you had the heater to prove it.
I didn't know how to use it, but I got my message across.
What did they do?
I don't know.
Did
I've
they
never
start
asked them.
laughing, or were
No, they left
serious?
eventually, but not right away.
I can imagine getting on the team bus afterwards and 3 of them telling the other players,
I think-
"You won't believe what Neil did to us tonight."
I think we came back and won that game, too, so the gun trick worked.
Yes, well, a lot of coaches wishes they'd had one
Yeah,
out
you're
there.
not kidding.
And sometimes they would have been used, I think, too.
I still see the officer. He's a detective now. I think I got
wow.
him started when I did this. And he tells me every time I go into St. Louis, he says, "You remember that night, Harry?"
I bet he did, and he didn't get fired, he got promoted. How about that? You know, you go figure. At any rate, at the end of 1, we're tied at 1s. Leafs and Blues. You're watching Molson Canadian Sunday Night Classics on Leafs TV. 2, as things just mounted.
Joseph out of the net. He saw Osborne coming in. The Leafs keep the puck inside the line. Here's Gilmore going to the net. Here's Gilmore. Gilmore! Stopped by Joseph. 10 seconds left. And the Blues come out. Up to center ice. It's poked over the line. 2 seconds left. Another stop by Joseph on the horn. The Leafs come that close to winning in regulation time. The Blues and the Leafs putting on another great show.
Obviously, after watching him stand on his ear for the first 2 games and losing the third, Pat Burns has said, "You know what, guys, it may be an idea if we get in and make life a little miserable for Curtis Joseph."
And in this game, they certainly did get after him. Foligno hit him in the shoulder with a rocket shot that paralyzed him for a little while. And then we find that they are getting into the crease. They don't mind bumping him. And Joseph kind of gets competitive and wants to fight back. So we see both goalies run in the second period of this game.
All right, well, it is the Leafs and the St. Louis Blues who are tied at 1s. You're watching Molson Canadian Sunday Night Classics on...
As they were going off the ice, number 19, Shanahan, picked up a slashing penalty.
And therefore, the Leafs start this second period on a power play. Elliott back to the net. Will bring the puck out. Aronov is his defense partner. Borshevsky, Gilmore, and Andrechuk the forward line. 1-1 tie, and Gilmore is in to steal the puck right off the bat. It is centered, but in front of the net was Miller, and he shot it off the boards down the ice for Potvin. Aronov back this time. Kevin Miller is coming in there, and Vasson is the other penalty killer. And the Leafs move it out to center. Elliott is up into the center ice. Play goes right on, though. And the Blues back get a chance to move it out. They do not. Andrechuk gets it right in. And that's stopped. A rebound. Andrechuk again missed it. Borshevsky missed the net. It is centered again to Borshevsky. The Leafs pressing on this power play with 3 scoring chances right there. Mironov to Borshevsky. Mironov shot. That is wide of the net. Elliott takes a shot. Rebound there for Andrechuk, and he can't find it. Borshevsky to Gilmore. To Borshevsky. Borshevsky back to the line. Here's Elliott again. That's kicked out by Joseph. Booming shot by Elliott. It's kept in by the Leafs. Right in front of the net. Hedican slapped it back of the goal. Gilmore trying to pick it up. Sutter fell on the puck. Here's Mironov. He can't handle it cleanly. Make the shot. Has to throw it back in the net. Gilmore for Andrechuk. Andrechuk back to the line, a hit of skate. Ellett moving up. 20 seconds left in the power play. And his shot to the line, not out. Mironov winds up, no shot. Gilmore couldn't get the pass. Mironov can't stop it. The Blues clear at the length of the ice. That will just about kill the penalty to the St. Louis Blues. It's still 1-1, and now the Blues are at full strength. This is Clark coming in over the line, shoots one, claps right on, and Joseph had some difficulty with it, but he fell on it and smothered the puck.
Well, the second period for the Leafs have been atrocious in these playoffs. They've been outscored 22-7, and in this series outscored 2-0, outshot in Game 3, 15-10, and they lost the momentum in Game 3 with a bad second period that they earned in the first period. A horrible giveaway on that power play leads the Leafs to getting a good opportunity, but the shot's blocked by Zombo. So the puck's all around, and they end up getting no chances as they miss the net or the shot was blocked. Two small guys with big hearts meet in the corner of the rink by SeaWorld there. Both of them are going to get a closer look.
Face off now inside the Blues line to the left of Curtis Joseph. 1-1 is the score. The Leafs have had 3 shots on goal already in this period on that power play, which is now over. Krushelnyski, Anderson, Foligno. Brett Hall is on the ice for St. Louis. Shanahan and Janney, the other two. Foligno roll the puck into Anderson. He takes a shot. Foligno tried to tip it in and just missed. Foligno comes out with it again. The Leafs press in there. Anderson will have to hurry. He picks it up, shot it back toward the line. Shanahan was in the way. Shanahan put it by Gill. Now Anderson flipped it over the line again, and it's Krushelnyski coming in for his shot. That's deflected by Joseph. Shanahan chased Foligno. Fired back at the net by Butcher on the boards. The Blues do not clear it right away. The Leafs are really pressing. Foligno gets in. Another chance. He fired at it, and Joseph somehow got a piece of it. And then on the second one, he fell and stopped Foligno. And Foligno is all fired up in this game.
Well, Joseph took a run at Foligno. Foligno walked out from behind the net. And the St. Louis Blues defense corps cannot handle the Leafs in the defensive zone coverage.
That was McCown who came in, and then Brown saw him come in, so he took off.
Well, the faceoff's going to be outside because the Leaf defenseman came in to join this battle. Foligno was jumped by Joseph, who felt that Foligno ran into him on purpose. Joseph may get a penalty. We know Foligno's going to get one. And we're not sure who else in this stand-up wrestling match is going to end up in the penalty box.
That's Krushelnyski with Shanahan. They are away from the crowd in the corner.
We're just talking about the Mother's Day cards they sent to their respective mothers.
Jerry Gauthier has a cut on the nose. The linesman.
Well, it looks like it's settled down, and the referee Fawcett, although Basson and Todd Gill won't let go of each other. Krushelnyski's the first guy to the penalty box.
Shanahan will join him.
And I'm sure Foligno will be sentenced. They may send them all in there for 2 minutes.
Butcher and Foligno don't want to leave. That's Shanahan in the box. More penalties to come. Crowd enjoying it.
Well, the Leafs have started this second period, at least the first 3 minutes of it, with a lot more determination than they've started most of the second periods. As I mentioned, they've outshot St. Louis 6-0 so far in the second period. And here's how this whole thing started. Foligno gets the puck and tries to come out from the back and then is pushed, and Krushelnyski is knocked by Wilson right into, or by Basson, right into the goalie. Then Shanahan comes over for a shove, and now Butcher, he gives him the glove treatment. So Shanahan was jumped by 3 Blues, and now they're gone to Foligno, and the referee here has got a credit card to do what he wants. Now this is when the 2 Leaf defensemen came in. They'd been standing on the blue line, but they saw Krushelnyski having to deal with Shanahan and Wilson, and before long you'll see 34 and 23 for the Leafs join the scene. There they are. Gauthier got hit in the nose with a stick. He's about a foot shorter than all the guys he's trying to handle. And Fawcett, in his first second round assignment, has got a tough one to handle.
Number 26, Mike Krushelnyski, 2 minutes for charging. Number 34, Jamie McCowan, 2 minutes for roughing. And number 71, Mike Foligno, a 10-minute misconduct. For St. Louis, number 19, Brendan Shanahan, 2 minutes roughing. And number 5, Garth Butcher, a 10-minute misconduct. Time of the penalties, 2:52.
Misconduct penalties to Butcher and Foligno.
Here's how the play started off the draw. Wilson was to take the center if you lose it. He's following his assignment to a T. Take the center when you lose the draw. That's what my coach told me, Ron Sand, and I'm taking the center right here. I lost the draw, I'm taking the center.
Krushelnyski drew a minor penalty for charging. Foligno misconduct. Jamie McCown got a minor for roughing. Brendan Shanahan a roughing minor. And Garth Butcher, as we mentioned, a 10-minute misconduct penalty.
Well, the Leafs are going to have a shorthanded situation here, which is real hard to understand. There's Jerry Gauthier with the bleeding nose. That a team... Foligno gets 10 minutes, Bob. They had him on the way over to the penalty box, and he roared back in. Pat Burns can't believe that they end up on the short end of the stick with reference to the penalties. The charging penalty to Krushelnyski, he was helped on the charge by the St. Louis player.
McCown must have picked up his minor penalty when he came charging in after the fray developed.
Now that's a tough one for the Leafs to swallow, that on a situation that looked like everybody should have had a penalty, that there's an odd number of them.
Face-off kick back. Emerson is turning. Emerson's pass to the far boards. They'll work it on the outside for a bit. Emerson again from Janney, back into Janney. Janney trying to draw a hole. Hall drilled it! And put bag in, stop Brett Hull. But it is simply amazing how Janney can hang on to that puck and wait for Hull to get in a spot. And then, quick as a flash, it's on a stick.
Well, Hull does not need any time to get the shot away. If you haven't got his stick tied up, and look at Brown, snuck in behind Peter Zezel because Peter Zezel was so determined to try and get on Hull. Now, it's not how hard he shoots it. Look how fast he gets rid of it. I mean, if that puck's anywhere but right at the goalie, it's almost impossible for the goalie to move and make the save.
Potvin covering the angle, though, perfectly on Brett Hull. He is certainly aware that Hull is on the ice. Brown reaching in. He'll slap a high one into the corner. The Leafs with a chance to clear now. They do. Brown trying to knock it down with his glove. 35 seconds left of the Jamie McCown penalty. Berg in there, and he bumped Emerson hard. As to Hull, he has to back up. Hull leaves it for Emerson. Again, he leaves it in the corner. Blues crisscrossing, weaving. 20 seconds left of the penalty to the Leafs. Max Rouse getting back, fired it on the boards in the corner. It's out over the line and down the ice. And only 10 seconds left of the penalty now. Joseph nearly got trapped by Osborne. The penalty is over. McCown is out of the penalty box. So the Leafs had killed off another one. Eastwood slapped it ahead to Osborne. He moved up with a high shot that hit the glass. Well over the net. Vanderbilt keeping it in with Clark coming for the net. Vanderbilt is there. And he waited too long to pass it out front of the goal. Vanderbilt was open in front of Joseph. But the pass was late getting there. 1-1 the score. Nearing the 6-minute mark of the second, and here's Eastwood. He's coming in with Vanderbilt. Eastwood and Vanderbilt in the corner, working the corner beautifully. Eastwood takes a hit. Clark was open though. Clark trying to come in himself. The shot hit the outside of the net. Clark in the corner, working the puck loose again. Clark dropped it back to the line. Ella had to shoot it back to the net, and Joseph moved out. Put it by Clark. Vanderbilt is there, but here's Lowry now. He got the pass out to center, but it's chopped back in by Ellen. 6 minutes gone in the second, and a 1-1 tie. This is game 4 of the best of 7. The Blues lead the series 2-1. Scene shifts to Maple Leaf Gardens after this one. Game 5 on Tuesday. Here's Andrechuk moving up. Takes it off the boards, the pass. Olszewski couldn't reach it. Gilmore is there. Wilson turns, backhands it off Belster down the ice. Could be icing, and McCown gets there in enough time. He does. And that is icing called against the Blues. We'll be right back after this message.
That allows Eastwood to gain the zone. Now, if the St. Louis player goes down, you're probably going to get called for interference. He didn't. Ended up being a good play.
Face off to the right of Joseph. Deep in the blue zone. 1-1. 6.5 minutes into the second period. And from the draw, the Blues win it. Leafs keep it in though, but the pass gets by the two defensemen. Down the ice. Marinoff. He's bumped by Bozon. Came charging in. Wilson backhands the puck into the corner to Lowry and Bozon. Now it's Andrechuk. Fired a hard pass off the boards down the ice. Combo back up for St. Louis. Not as far as center. Lowry dumped it in. Potvin stepping out as McCown was getting back. Takes his time, put it on the glass. Hennigan shot, deflected and missed. Center! Three Leafs were fortunate to pick that up and get out. It is Gilmore over the line, dropping it. Hall turns, but he ran into Andrechuk. The Fave shot it in for Toronto. We're now making changes, and the Blues come out. Up to the line and near center. Hennigan carries up over the Leaf line, and that's where that play ends. Potvin covering on that shoot in, but it's called on the offside. 7 minutes, 36 seconds into the second. 1-1, and here we go. Baston against Andrechuk. Bonnie doesn't drop it. We get fresh faces. Olszewski and Miller. Now he drops it. And Brown goes around the net. Leafs were changing. Gilmore hopping over the boards. Puck nearly hit him. He was going off. Open wing at the far side, and the defenseman Brown moved up. But that pass is offside to Basson. They call.
A lot less changing on the fly by both teams tonight. They seem to get the matchup that the opposition doesn't mind. Maybe they don't like it. They don't mind it. So Gilmore has played a lot. Gilmore roars to the bench right here when St. Louis get the puck. And Gilmore has played on 2 or 3 different lines. So he changes occasionally, but we don't see that mass line changing by either team very often.
Face off, as you see, near the St. Louis line. Fans getting on the officials now. Get that puck dropped in. Let's get it going. Gilmore looking a little frustrated now. The puck is dropped in, and it's St. Louis winning the draw. Pass intercepted at the line, but Andrechuk was without his stick. He lost it. He now retrieves it as Sutter comes in, shoots one. Left hand, the save on the short side. Sutter digs it out again, trying to center it. Sutter still with it. Cecil trying to catch him down. Cecil does. and Zezel push and shove. Zezel didn't like the way Sutter checked him as he was knocked down. A swing at Sutter. Sutter came back.
What Zezel didn't like was when the puck was under Peter Zezel, Sutter came in with very enthusiastically to dig the puck out. Now Basson got involved in it and picked up a penalty, and a rather foolish one at that.
A roughing penalty called against Bob Basson.
Now you're going to see Zezel go down. Now here comes Sutter. Sutter trying to dig the puck out. Now Zezel doesn't like that, and there's the punch. Basson comes in and throws a left hand and serves a penalty for it. Garth Butcher. Richie Sutter, like all the Sutters, they're annoying to play against. And watch what Richie Sutter does right here to Vanderchuk's stick. Vanderchuk doesn't like it, but oh, the Sutter brothers, boy, how would you like to tangle with any of them, let alone all of them?
Another power play now for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Score tied at 1, 9:36 left in the second. Miller, a penalty killer, and a dangerous one at that. So is Wilson. He takes the puck in the corner, kills a few seconds. Elliott, loose puck behind his own net, turning away from Wilson. Has to contend with Miller now, and Wilson catches up to him. Hennigan stopped the pass. Leafs unable to get organized so far in this power play. They haven't moved it out over the line. Now they do. Up to the line, but not very far over it. Gill has to come back. 30 seconds gone in the penalty. Elliott from center, trying to hit Andrechuk. That was intercepted. Blues, a great penalty-killing team. Now moving up, Borshevsky checked, got it back to Gilmore. Elliott, and Gill's shot, that's blocked. Elliott keeps it in, good play. Elliott rolled it in there, and Joseph, he's the last man, and he's the big man. And he stopped that deflection off Andrechuk.
Now that was a good deflection by Dave Andrechuk on a good point shot by Todd Gill. But Joseph, as sharp as he's been, he picks off the deflections too. The puck will go back to Dave Elliott. He'll keep it in very nicely right there. And watch Andrechuk come out from behind the net on the right of your screen, tip the puck, and Joseph stops it. Now Andrechuk wasn't quite far enough out in front and a little too far to Joseph's right to make that a more difficult deflected shot stopped by Curtis Joseph.
Face off to the right of Curtis Joseph now. We're in a 1-1 tie in Game 4 at the arena in St. Louis. The Blues winning the first game here and the last one in Toronto after the Leafs opened up with a double overtime 2-1 win. The Blues back winning 2-1 in double overtime and winning here 2 nights ago. Scene shifts after this one for Game 5 to Maple Leaf Gardens in Toronto Tuesday night at 7:30 Eastern. Molson Hockey Night in Canada on the CBC network again. Only action in this North Division final. And it is a great series for these two, the Blues and the Leafs. Fawcett gets into the act now and talks to the two wingers at the far side. The defenseman, one of them, Barron, and Andrechuk, the winger, inside the circle. Now we're ready. 1-1. 1 minute left in the penalty to the Blues. Gilmore won it this time. Leafs pass it around on the outside. These penalty killers of the Blues. Shanahan intercepted that one. Gilmore for Borshevsky. And again an interception. Out comes Wilson. He's been great killing penalties. Wanted to go in and nearly got in. Andrechuk is hauled down by Shanahan. The play goes on. 30 seconds left on this Leaf power play. Gill hammers a high one in for Andrechuk. He takes it, ripped it on the boards behind the net. Mironov keeps it in. Andrechuk back to the goal. Out front it comes. And the Blues are there again. Lozon, or rather Barron, picked it up and shot it. Stopped by Potvin, and rather easy save. Back to center. The Leafs up over the line. It is Gilmore. He has Borshevsky there. Back to the blue line. Lefebvre shoots. Rebound. Borshevsky can't find it. And the Blues get out. They're at full strength. Basson coming over center ice and going in. Basson with Miller. Basson around the net out front. And it's stopped by Potvin. The play called. And there's going to be a Leaf penalty now. Janney was nailed behind the net. And here's an interference call against Toronto. And it goes over the boards near the St. Louis bench. Play stops with 1:20 left in the Leaf penalty.
We mentioned earlier that Bob Berry's gone with exactly the same lineup now for 8 games. Why not? The Blues have only lost one of them. Since December the 19th, St. Louis is 32-19-7. Berry took over October the 29th and had to run an in-season training camp and took about 6 weeks before he could get this team playing as a team. They were playing as individuals and not very well before that.
Toronto trying to kill off this penalty to Krushelnyski. 1:10 left on it. The Blues, Brown is turning to the right as Emerson carries the puck up the middle. Goes to Hull. He had to take the pass in the backhand to shoot it in. And they go in after it. It's back to the line to Emerson. He shot it into the corner. Shanahan. He's caught in there. Here's Brown moving up. Stopped by Potvin. He hangs on to it. With Hull coming in looking for the rebound. But Potvin made a good save. And he smothered the rebound.
Well, we all know that Jeff Brown's got a big-time point shot. He's second in the National Hockey League among defensemen in scoring. And a nice, soft, feathery pass slides through here. But Potvin has no screen at all. Just Hull trying to tip it. And Hull couldn't get enough of the puck. And as I mentioned earlier, where you see Hull in the in the St. Louis offensive zone, you're probably going to see Lefebvre hunting for him and bothering him and trying to take him off his game.
From the face-off, the Leafs on it quickly to shoot it down the ice. And the play stopped. They're going to bring it back.
The puck went out at the Leaf bench, Bob, and it landed on a fan just to the right of the Leaf bench in the first row who's injured. So the Leafs get penalized and the fan gets hurt. Although she seems to be all right now. The Leafs had the puck out of the zone, but it went out of the ring.
Here's Brown getting the draw back to Miller. Miller has to wait now. Brown poised at the blue line. Brown going the other side to Hull. Into the corner. Back to Hull. To Brown, to Hull. Will he shoot it? No. Miller gets the pass and then lost it. And Gilmore takes a hit but gets the puck out and down the ice. 20 seconds left in the penalty. Leafs are hanging on. 1-1 tie here in the second. Bozon moving up and it poked off his stick. Back out over the line. 5 seconds left in the Leaf penalty. And it's grabbed by Gilmore. He is moving up for Toronto. Solo job. Can't get a shot though. The penalty now is over. Krushelnyski missed his man. Here's Belzner coming in. Dropped it back. Bozon's shot nowhere near the net. It is kept in. It hit the referee who was coming back. The Blues take advantage of that and they push it in behind the Leaf net. Ellen grabs it. Shot it ahead. Took a funny hop for Anderson. He couldn't play it. But Krushelnyski does. He gets an opening down the right side. A pass comes in front of the net. From the scramble, it's cleared back of the goal by Joseph. And he gets a hand from his defenseman who got back quickly. Zombo roughing it up. For the Leafs, McCown gets a shot. Penalty coming up. Potvin going for the net. It is centered to Anderson and now grabbed by the St. Louis Blues. And when we come back, the Toronto Maple Leafs will go on the power play, and we're tied at 1.
This portion of Leafs TV is brought to you by Siemens Canada Limited. There's a first time for everything. Siemens Global Network of Innovation.
Spin, spin, spin the globe. It's your turn to spin the globe. Spin,
All around the world, Siemens provides hospitals and doctors with the tools they need to make the right decisions right away. From diagnostics, to patient information, to care management, we're doing our part to help people everywhere feel better.
Spin, spin, spin the globe. It's your turn to spin the globe.
I know what I'm getting my parents for Christmas. All the songs they've loved for years. From the Beach Boys, Bonnie Raitt, Steve Miller, and Bob Seger. Bob Seger's Greatest Hits Volume 2 also includes 2 new previously unreleased songs. And the best part, they're available everywhere. Oh yeah, and don't forget Meatloaf.
This is me, and my mom and dad, and my big brother Alex. And this is the day we all got to forget I was sick. This was my wish.
We're back at the arena in St. Louis, and the Leafs have a power play now because of this elbow by Zombo.
Well, that isn't the penalty there, Lowry on Anderson, but you're going to see it coming up as Rick Zombo is cross-checked, and then whammo! He throws an elbow at Anderson and takes a rather foolish penalty.
Leafs extra man now. They win the draw inside that line. Gill's shot gloved by Joseph. No further play. Foligno went in there and took a couple of shots. He and Joseph have something going in this game.
Well, it all started with a field goal, if you recall, of Joseph's helmet in Game 1. That was accidental. Foligno is trying to tell the officials and anybody else who cares that he's being pushed into the goalie, that he's not going in alone. And Foligno doing a good job agitating now. Is he pushed in, or does he go in with some enthusiasm and makes it look like he's pushed in?
He's pushed out.
There's a little bit of acting in Mike Foligno.
Face off to the right of Joseph again. 1-1. Second period, 4:26 left. Leafs get the draw again. Gill moving up. The Leafs are reluctant to shoot from the blue line. Why not? Joseph has been just about invincible. Down for the Blues. Shanahan shot. Juggled by Potvin, and he's nailed by Wilson. And Shanahan, who came in. Potvin given a bump and ends up back in the net.
Well, I guess it's a baseball. You throw at our pitcher, we'll throw at your pitcher. And as I said, here come the Blues, who aren't making much of an attempt to get out of the way of Potvin, as the Leafs did at the other end with reference to Joseph. The referee's now warning both teams. If you don't try to avoid the goalie, I'm going to give you a penalty. Barry's saying he wants to talk to him about the Foligno incident. And that's a good move by the referee. Don't give a penalty right out of the blue. Now he's cleared the deck. You get a penalty if you bump the goalie, so don't do it.
4:08 left in the second period. Score tied 1-1. First period scoring. Clark for the Maple Leafs on assisted. Felsner on a St. Louis power play. The Leafs have a power play now, and 1:35 left on it. So Wilson in there for checking. Penalty killing role. He hit Gilmore and flattened him. Puck is shot in on the boards for Andrechuk. He tries to lumber in to pick it up. Borshevsky comes in to help and takes a hit as he does, but he gets the puck loose. Borshevsky trying to hang on to it. Now it's Borshevsky again. On the boards to Gilmore. Back to the line to Gill. And Gill takes his shot. Rebound score! The Leafs take the lead as the shot came from the blue line. And Borshevsky, I believe, might be the one, but Andrechuk was there too. One of them knocked it in behind Joseph. At any rate, it's a power play goal for the Maple Leafs.
A nice play by Todd Gill. He notices Andrechuk is in front of the net, and so he just shoots it in. It's almost a pass. Joseph makes the first save, and Andrechuk bats the second one into the net. Take a look at Anderchuk here. The shot's already been stopped once by Joseph. And Anderchuk with that big long reach and that big long stick scores his first power play goal in the playoffs, and one that he gets many, many times about 3.5 feet from the goal line.
This goal comes at 16:25, and it's a big goal because these two teams, Harry, have settled back really and have been very defensive-minded. But this power play has come through for the Maple Leafs. And it has been one of their drawbacks in this series. But Andrechuk scores here to make it 2-1. Leafs lead, and they come after the Blues again. Osborne's high shot. Big rebound for Zezel. Couldn't get a good shot away. At the blue line, Ellen tried one. That's deflected high. Back of the net. It is Zezel trying to center it. Zezel gets it in there, and Joseph saw it and put his glove down. Boy, I'll tell you, it's rough work going on in front of Joseph with the defenseman, and Butcher was one of them, keeping the Leafs off stride.
I think the Leafs have got to Joseph a little bit here. He's reacting to these traffic jams, and we didn't see any of that in the first 3 games. I know it's frustrating. It's tough enough to stop the puck, but when you got a blue shirt in your face the whole night, it's even tougher. Here's the scramble around the goal. Zezel walks out from behind the net, as 30 Leafs have done in this series, and couldn't put it in. Joseph finds the puck, but a lot of people were in the crease. Here's the walkout again. And you can see a nice play by number 10, Bill Berg, to not only occupy the defenseman to give Zezel a chance to come out, but to upset Mr. Joseph.
Joseph using the stick a little bit to move people. Andrechuk from Gill and Gilmore at 16:25. The Leafs scoring play on a power play. They lead 2-1. 3:05 left in the second period. Puck is kept in by Toronto. Out of the net again, Joseph. Ellett will stop it on the underside. Fired it into Zezel out front. Osborne hammered one off his stick. And that goes out of play with 2:52 left in the second period. The Leafs trying to tie the series before it moves back to Toronto for Tuesday's 5th game.
One thing you have to say about the St. Louis Blues, their forwards and their defensemen, they deflect and block a lot of shots that are headed toward Curtis Joseph. And so Joseph doesn't have to stop some shots that I'm sure might be screened. And there was a good example of one that an Ellett shot through a mass of legs and arms and sticks, and it hit a St. Louis Blue player and went out of the rink.
A 1-goal lead. And we have seen that so many times in the series. Every game. Leafs had a 2-0 lead in the first game here the other night. That didn't stand up very long. When Hull scored, made it 2-1. It ended in a St. Louis victory. Here's Ellett moving in. Bullet shot. He's off the net again. Gill fired one in. It's tipped in front of the goal. Gilmore centered it. Borchevsky covered on that play. Borchevsky against Lowry in the corner. Back to Andrechuk, and he fired one in. And the save made by Joseph, and he hangs on to it.
It's time to celebrate the greatest game on ice. Hockey Canada Week kicks off the start to a new season November 8th to 15th, and we're inviting you to get involved and get in the game. Minor hockey associations who participate in Hockey Canada Week can enter to win $10,000 in hockey equipment and products, compliments of Easton. For more information, visit the Hockey Canada website at hockeycanada.ca. So celebrate hockey and get in the game.
Mona.
Miss me?
Oh, yeah.
Show me.
How's that? Snap and send digital images phone to phone or by email. The new camera phone from LG. Life's good.
I have spent a weekend in Vegas
without a hotel room.
I've given a toast at a wedding
that I wasn't even invited to. I have French kissed
a French woman.
I have called shotgun
11 hours before a road trip.
I've eaten condiments as a meal.
I have dated Carmen Electra's cousins.
Friends, sister.
Oh, keep up the good work, gentlemen. Coors Light, the silver bullet.
Introducing a higher level of value. The 2004s from Hyundai.
I wanna take it higher.
With more features and more fun. More family room and a renewed sense of style. More luxury and sophistication. Get a great deal on a 2004 at your Hyundai dealer now.
Dave Andreychuk this year set the record for most power play goals in the history of the National Hockey League. And in this series and in this period, he has just scored his 8th of the postseason. Again, standing in front of the net, taking some abuse, but having that wonderful eye-hand coordination and the immovable object in front of the net.
And Todd Gill, the defenseman who shot the puck, and all the Leaf defensemen must have quickly realized, get the puck on the net when Big Andreychuk's in front. He may screen it, he may tip it, or he may jump on the rebound. And this goal by Anderson is a textbook tip-in, and he must have scored the third of his goals just like this.
Dave Andreychuk is a guy, I remember he would have been a delight for Harold Ballard because he played with the same stick, literally, until it either broke or it wore out. And he would, it was just his little foible, that was his little superstition. Nicky Borachevsky would, meanwhile, be in a Sanders equipment because he'd have sawdust up to about his knee going through new sticks every night. But Dave Andreychuk liked the feel of one stick, and that's the one he was going to play with until it actually broke. And he'd go a couple of weeks, maybe more.
Is he using a wooden or a
No,
metal stick now?
I don't know. I think he's still using the
I
wooden
do too.
ones.
And he's one of a few that are, because they've all gone to the metal.
Yep. Well, he has given the Leafs a 2-1 lead here in an afternoon delight, Mother's Day. The Leafs leading the St. Louis Blues 2-1 in Game 4. Let's go back to more of the action.
Garrett Butcher, Regina, top draft pick. Regina Pats. He terrorized the Western Junior League. I can remember going to scout him. Everybody was afraid of Garrett Butcher. He hasn't terrorized the National League, but he's had a very effective career.
We're down to 2:04 left in the second period. The Leafs have taken the lead 2-1. From the face-off, Toronto winning the draw in there. Gill shot one in. Pushilniski tried to deflect it. Pushilniski stopped it at the blue line, but couldn't hang on to it and keep it in. Lowry moving up for St. Louis. But Elliott breaks it up, taking it away from Hull. Elliott lost it to Hull now. It is shot back to Gill at the Leaf blue line. His pass coming up to Pushilniski. He's without the helmet going in. Pushilniski is checked. It is fired away on the other side, hit Anderson and gets out. Two Blues are up. Hull and Lowry. Lowry dropped it back to Brown, and he missed the net on the short side. And the puck rolls out over the blue line. 1:15 remaining. Anderson up there with Foligno. Foligno gets away from a hit thrown by Zombo. Foligno didn't see the chance he had. The puck was loose. Two Blues come over center. Coming in on this play is Shanahan. And the backhander off the side of the net. The Leafs will clear it out. 55 seconds left in the second period. Pushilniski reaching for it. It is McCown giving it to him. It got by Zombo, then he turned and picked it up and then lost it again. Pushilniski wants to get off and he shoots it in. 40 seconds left in the period. The Leafs lead by 1 goal. Chopped in there by Osborne. Now Janney for Emerson. Emerson trying to skate away. It is shot over the Leaf line and a penalty being called on that play. In behind the play, really, and it's going to be against Berg of the Toronto Maple Leafs.
This game has got a little nasty, but retaliatory penalties, you can't have them. If you want to win, the Leafs need a victory today to make sure they're not down 3-1. And Bill Berg, a normally very rugged up front in-your-face player, gets caught for cross-checking with 29 seconds left in the second period. Look at the bottom of the screen. It hasn't happened yet. There it is. St. Louis players down. I mean, you can't take those kind of penalties. The rush is gone. You punish your teammates when you do that, and you possibly give your enemy a chance to tie the game.
Well, 28.9 seconds. That's all that remains in this second period. And the Blues will have that man advantage. 2-1, Toronto leads the shots in the period. 17 by Toronto, 10 by the Blues. 27-18 overall. And here's the face-off. It's just inside the Maple Leaf blue line. Zazzle against Shanahan. Emerson and Brown at the blue line again. Paul and Janney are the other two. Zazzle for the Maple Leafs. Rouse and McCown, the defenseman. Paul gets loose on the draw. Has to come back to the line. Now he shoots it back at the goal. Rouse is in there. Here comes Brown moving up. Rouse can't clear it out. The Blues are on it and pressing now. In the dying seconds of this period. Leafs with a chance to clear, but it got too high. Off the stick of Zazzle into the crowd. Faceoff will be inside the Leaf line to the right of Potvin with 11.2 seconds remaining.
Not a bad play by Zazzle. I think he knew that he was under duress and wasn't going to get a chance to ice the puck, and so he put it out of the rink with 11.2 seconds to go, and your team in a little bit of a hectic situation. It's not a bad idea. Now watch the puck come to him here, and he knows that he's being harassed right away and might not be able to get it past the left point man. So he gets it past the glass, and everyone can settle down and start from scratch.
So Krushelnyski comes back out, but I think Gilmore will probably take the face-off against Janney. And they line up for it now. They're out of position. Emerson and McCown were both inside the circle when the puck was dropped. So Jerry Gauthier at the far side spotted that and called it.
Boy, that's a break. That puck was going right to Brett Hallbaugh. And you know what he might do?
He's poised just behind Janney. This time he gets it. Here he comes. No shot though. Brown passes off. Hull gets in there. Big scramble. Oh, open side missed by Emerson. And the horn goes to end the second period. And it ends in a flurry of action around Felix Potvin. The Blues come close to tying it.
Two face-off wins by the St. Louis Blues nearly end up in a goal. Give the defenseman McCowan credit, or sorry, it was Krushelnyski credit. He fell down in front of Brett Hull to take his shot away. And then Emerson missed one very close to the end of the period. Here's the goal that put the Leafs ahead. A nice low shot by Todd Gill, stopped by Joseph, and then Dave Anderchuk backhands it into the net before he's hit into the net by Garth Butcher.
Don't spend your winter in the banks. Take control with winter slalom tires from BF Goodrich. Get right into it and out. Take control with light truck tires from BF Goodrich.
The Chinook is here. At 36.2, it won't be for long.
I know what I'm getting my parents for Christmas. All the songs they've loved for years. From the Beach Boys, Bonnie Raitt, Steve Miller, and Bob Seger. Bob Seger's Greatest Hits Volume 2 also includes 2 new previously unreleased songs. And the best part, they're available everywhere. Oh yeah, and don't forget Meatloaf.
In Canada, over 21,000 women and 140 men will be diagnosed with breast cancer this year. That would fill an entire NHL arena by donating and volunteering to the Canadian Breast Cancer Foundation. You are creating a future without breast cancer.
In the first period, a bad giveaway, and Wendell Clark scores his third of the postseason at 2:58. Then Danny Felsner on a power play with Kevin Miller and Jeff Brown tying the game for the St. Louis Blues. But the Leaf power play would click in the second period. Dave Andrechuk tipping in his 8th of the year as Todd Gill got the point shot away, and Doug Gilmour, as usual, picked up the additional assist. The Leafs lead by a score of 2-1 at the end of 2. You're watching Molson Canadian Sunday Night Classics on Leafs TV.
I have spent a weekend in Vegas
without a hotel room.
I've given a toast at a wedding
that I wasn't even invited to.
I have French kissed a French woman.
I have called shotgun
11 hours before a road trip.
I've eaten condiments as a meal.
I have dated Carmen Electra's cousins,
Friends,
sister.
Oh, keep up the good work, gentlemen. Coors Light, the silver bullet.
I have Huntington disease. This is my future, just 15 years from now. I will be robbed of any control of my mind and body. I will become dependent, like a child. And my son has a 50% risk of getting Huntington's from me. If he does, someday it will slowly kill him too. We must find a cure for Huntington's. Won't you help?
Well, there's always lots talked about Gilmour and Andrechuk, and there'll be plenty talked about Sundin and others, and Dave Keon and all of the offensive stars. But it seems ironic that almost every year, somewhere along the line, someone will say the Leafs could really use a checking line like Zezel, Berg, and Osborne. They've become almost a piece of Maple Leaf folklore.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I have not seen since the Toronto Maple Leafs have a better trio. They played most of the game against the other team's best line. The three of them killed off at least 2/3 of every penalty, and the three of them contributed 31 combined goals. So when you get those kinds of performances from your, quote, checking line, you don't mind using them. And they probably play more, get more ice time than most third lines in the league, and that's the reason why.
When you consider how much Pat Burns utilized Doug Gilmour, and he was like Phil Esposito, where he would play through a number of wingers. This was almost not the third line. It was probably the team's second line, wasn't it?
Well, they were labeled the third line or the checking line, which probably was a little unfair. But I think their mandate from Coach Burns was, don't let the other team's best line, and I'm going to get you out there as often as I can against them, beat us. Make some other line beat us, and they chipped some goals in to help get that problem solved.
Peter Zezel, maybe one of the premier face-off people in the league at this point, and a soccer background is a very key part of it.
And quite often he would tie the opposing center's stick up and then step ahead and kick the puck to one of his teammates. And you're right, Zezel, when you can start with the puck on a consistent basis in your own end, you've already taken a good step that cuts goals against down.
So the Maple Leafs are out in front by a score of 2-1 over the St. Louis Blues in Game 4, this afternoon's game. And you're watching Molson Canadian Sunday Night Classics on Leafs TV.
I'll let you off the warning this time.
Who knew that all natural ingredients could ever come together in a rich and creamy ice cream that also happens to be light? with half the fat of our regular ice cream. All natural light ice cream from Breyers, naturally. 1/2 smooth, luscious vanilla, 1/2 rich, creamy chocolate fudge, and nothing less than 100% delightful. Vanilla and chocolate fudge Chex ice cream from Breyers, naturally.
Hi folks, I'm Brian Duff.
And I'm Rick Vine.
Join us and the entire Leafs TV crew when the Leafs are on the road this year for Molson Leafs Game Day.
And After the Horn from Wayne Gretzky, downtown at 99 Blue Jays Way.
Subscribe to Leafs TV and get exclusive insider analysis. Log on to mapleleafs.com to learn more about Leafs TV and contact your cable or satellite provider to subscribe. Leafs TV, your game, your team, your channel.
I think you'll see Brett Hull play more than 7 minutes or 7.5 minutes of this third period. They're down 2-1. Gilmore closing in on 30 minutes again. The chances to score, 16 for the Leafs, 9 for St. Louis, 9-5 Leafs that second period.
27-18, Harry, over 2 periods, the shots in favor of Toronto.
That could be the best second period the Leafs have had since the playoffs started. It has been a disastrous 20 minutes in many of the 10 games that they've played coming into tonight.
They had the only scoring play, as we said, Andrechuk from Gill and Gilmore at 16:25 of the second. Now, a St. Louis power play to start the third. And the Leafs dearly would love to kill this one off. Here's Hull. His shot deflected wide. A scramble for it at the side of the net. 3 Leafs are there. They do not clear it out. Brown kept it in for Janney behind the net. He's nailed right away. Shanahan back to the line. The Leafs do not get it out. Shanahan shot. That's deflected high and wide of the goal. Emerson tossed it in back of the net for Hull. Hull to the other side. Shanahan again going back to Brown. Brown shot in there. Puck by the save. Loose puck. And it's Shanahan from the corner. It is Osborne watching him. He leaves him there in the corner. Janney back of the net. The danger is Janney. Centered it. The shot block. Rebound. Hull. Great save. Potvin on Hull as he got the rebound. And Potvin was aware that Brett Hull was standing there. And he stopped him again.
Craig Janney's the quarterback on this St. Louis power play. He gets in behind the net, makes a lovely pass to Felsner. That's stopped by Potvin, and then Potvin robs Brett Hull on the rebound. Janney has 5 assists in the last 2 games. He has 11 points to lead his team in points, 9 of them assists. And if you give him time and space, he'll give you trouble.
Potvin coming up big again on Brett Hull on this St. Louis power play. 42 seconds left in the Bill Berg penalty. Face off to the left of Potvin. Shanahan on the draw. Zezel for the Leafs won it. And the Leafs shoot it by Emerson all the way down the ice. 35 seconds left in the penalty. Blues taking their time going back to pick it up. 28 seconds left in the penalty. Brown ahead to Janney. Janney over the line. Quick shot kicked out by Potvin. Big save again. Krushelnyski doesn't clear it. He had a chance to move it out through the middle and cut back to the corner. Now he gets another chance, and he skates with it now. Up to center is Rouse, the defenseman. Nearly overskated it, but now he shoots it in. And the penalty is 5 seconds left on it. One more shot at it for the Blues. Shanahan squeezing down along the board. Centered it. It comes out where Hull was cruising in. But he was covered. The penalty is over now. The Leafs are at full strength, and the Blues have the puck in there. Coming back out near the line, Basson centered it. A nice play by Eastwood to bring it out. Oh, he was nailed by Basson. The Leafs keep going. Big rebound off Joseph on that shot. Eastwood cutting to the middle. Didn't see Basson. And they collided. Hull is stopped at the Leaf line. It is shot off the boards to the St. Louis blue line. Now the Blues are all afire here. They're coming in again, but it's Clark this time who gets it out. Puck shut down the left side for Vanderbilt. He's racing in. Vanderbilt against Zombo. Clark kept it in. Clark trying to get it away from Sutter, but it's Rich Sutter getting away. He's up with Miller. Miller had gone ahead of him. Over the line, he had to circle back. Sutter now shoots it ahead. Gill knocked it down and lost it. But the Leafs were back there. Vanderbilt doing a good job getting back and bringing the puck in. Vanderbilt tries to get a shot, does a weak one. Stopped by Joseph. Back for the Blues. Wilson. He's up over center, and Potvin blocked that, but a big rebound, and it's cleared on the glass. Out to center ice. The Leafs come up. Ellen gives it to Clark. He's going off. They were changing. They played 3 minutes of the third period. The Leafs are leading 2-1. Here come the Blues. Lowry in there. Lowry with the defenseman Barron, but he couldn't get the puck to him. Puck and a blocker save made that look easy. Well, that was a decent shot from Wilson from the big circle. It is Toronto 2, and the Blues 1. This game is coming to you from the arena in St. Louis.
New Kellogg's Nutri-Grain Mini Granola Bites. Chewy granola mixed with delicious flavors. Oh, it's so true, but I'm not sure why they call them mini. Because they're huge! Here, look at the size of this baby. Pieces of fruit the size of my nephew's head. Oh, but you can eat a lot or just a little. Who could eat even one of these behemoths? This could feed an army for a year. Oh, hello.
New Kellogg's Nutri-Grain Mini Granola Bites. They're mini, if you're not.
I'm okay.
It's time to celebrate the greatest game on ice. Hockey Canada Week kicks off the start to a new season November 8th to 15th, and we're inviting you to get involved and get in the game. Minor hockey associations who participate in Hockey Canada Week can enter to win $10,000 in hockey equipment and products, compliments of Easton. For more information, visit the Hockey Canada website at hockeycanada.ca. So celebrate hockey and get in the game.
I have spent a weekend in Vegas
without a hotel room.
I've given a toast at a wedding
that I wasn't even invited to.
I have French kissed a French woman.
I have called shotgun
11 hours before a road trip.
I've eaten condiments as a meal.
I have dated Carmen Electra's cousins,
friends,
sister.
Oh, keep up the good work, gentlemen. Coors Light, the silver bullet.
Face off to the right of Felix Potvin. The Leafs win the draw and clear the zone. They are leading by 1 goal here in the third period. Joseph coming out to slap at it. Got it ahead, but not far enough. Now the Blues get it out over the line. Lowry stopped by Rouse. He shot it back in. Butcher dropped it. Brown comes up to the line. Stick handled back from Borshevsky. Borshevsky stays with him. Near center. Shot in by Bozon. There goes Wilson against Lefebvre. Wilson can't pick it up. Leafs get it out again. Bozon caught his man, but Borshevsky shakes him off. Shot it in. Coming up to the 4-minute mark now, the third. Game 4 at the arena in St. Louis. The Blues leading the series 2-1. Leafs looking to tie the series here. It is Ellen coming out. Going by Shanahan. Shanahan caught him. Hennigan goes back to his own net for the Blues. Turns quickly. Shot it out to center ice, and Gill was waiting for it. Up for Anderson. Anderson put it in. Krushelnyski, a weak shot. That came off his stick and bounced to the boards. The Blues, Emerson, starting away to center ice. He is striding in there full speed now. The rebound, Potvin will jump on it. High shot to Potvin. He couldn't handle it cleanly. Bounced in front of him. Before Shanahan could get near it, he jumped on it.
Gill makes a nice play on a shoot-in here. We like to show you these plays that wouldn't normally be talked about. Look at the nice little bit of interference he runs on Felsner. That allows McCowan to get around the ring. Eastwood heading east in a big hurry. Basson heading west in a faster pace, and Eastwood goes down. But they both got up. The little Phantom Rooster in white and the big rookie in blue.
Oh, on the ice again for St. Louis. Tierney to his right, Lowry to his left. Quintal back there with Barron. Crowd trying to get the Blues pumped up. The Leafs are leading 2-1 here in the third period. We are nearing the 5-minute mark. A pass ahead to Osborne behind him. It gets up to Quintal. He shot it to center. Zessel was there. Backhands it into the blue zone, and Barron goes back to the net. Berg is in there watching him. The pass stopped up the line. The Blues pick it up and skate away with it. Lifted in there by Janney. He's got back. Janney knocked it down. Threw it into the corner for Lowry, but he's covered. Osborne checked now by Barron. Puck out to center ice. Zessel moving in, trying to work it loose in front for Bird. He's in there and can't get a shot. He's dumped and 3 Blues race back. Janney coming over the line. Janney trying to go in. Loose puck there. Right in front of Potvin. It bounces high over the net. Blues coming close. Shot in by Hedican back of the goal. It is McCown picking it up in his own zone. He can't get it out. Cleared to center to Vanderbilt. He shot it in. Eastwood along the boards against Rick Zombo. Eastwood doing a good job. Gets the puck out, the backhander. That hit Hedican. He shot it ahead. Shanahan coming out with Emerson and Felsner. It is Shanahan looking for room. Blocked by Potvin. At least come out again. Pace picked up tremendously now in this third period. Shanahan coming in again. Slides one in wide of the net, and Potvin taking no chances, and he'd like to slow the pace. He does that by falling on it. They're nearing the 7-minute mark of the third period. The Leafs lead 2-1.
Well, Craig Janney, known for his offensive talent and his great ability to pass, makes a spectacular defensive play coming up right here to maybe save a goal. Lying down and hooked the puck away from the Leaf player. And as he came into the other end, you remember that deke he pulled in Game 2 in overtime? It didn't work on Lefebvre. And the St. Louis Blues have a couple of chances. Lefebvre knocked the puck over the net.
Might have saved one right there as he hit it. Face off to the right of Potvin now. 2-1 Toronto. Game 4. Shots are 7-2 for the Blues in this third period. Anderson coming up. Krushelnyski in front of the net. Jammed on it, and Joseph covered. Sliding along the goal line. Krushelnyski got the pass from Anderson and tried to deflect that one in, but he couldn't get it up.
Well, that was a play where the St. Louis defenseman was beaten at the blue line right there. Now Anderson gets away. Krushelnyski comes out of the pack and gets himself in the clear. A lovely little pass by Anderson, and Krushelnyski couldn't get it up. Now, if he had got it up, I think he might have been able to beat Joseph. But on this play, he can just get it away as he's being hooked from behind a little bit. And perhaps bothered so he couldn't concentrate. But that was a good Leaf chance. And Bob, the Leafs are going to get those kinds of chances as the Blues start to gamble as the clock starts to come down. And they got to put them in. They have not scored on a 2-on-1 in this series, and they've had about 8 of them.
Gilmore's on now with Andreychuk and Borshevsky. McCown and Gill. The Blues soon will have to pull out all the stops. Here's a shot from the blue line that's blocked. Lowry takes it, coming out with Bozon. Wilson on the play, but the Leafs send them back. Zombo turns at his own line. Fed ahead, and Bozon shot it in. Wilson hustling in there. Bozon had his stick lifted, and the Leafs come out. McCown gave it to Borshevsky. He's up there alone, backhands the puck in, and takes a hit on the boards as he did. Hedican straight to the line where he lost it. Borshevsky didn't see the pass. Zombo and Hedican once more. Hedican to center. There, he just rolls it in to the lead zone. Lefebvre back, takes a hit. Puck up the line. Janney centered it. That's intercepted, and Hull was cruising in there. And they go offside now at the Leaf blue line, but Hull was coming in for a shot, and Janney just failed to hit him.
I'll let you off the warning this time.
Don't spend your winter in the banks. Take control with winter slalom tires from BF Goodrich. Get right into it and out. Take control with light truck tires from BF Goodrich.
Raptors.com for your Raptors online. Meet the players, check their stats and the team standings. Stay on top of everything you want to know about the Toronto Raptors and the rest of the league. Or look ahead to the future with the Raptors 5-game outlook. Plus, breaking news, analysis, features, game coverage, and exclusive columns about the team. Even downloadable Toronto Raptors images to customize your desktop. And check out what's on next on Raptors NBA TV. Online all the time, Raptors.com.
Zazzle, Berg, and Osborne, the leaf line against Janney, Hall, and Miller. We're nearing the 8-minute mark of the third. Toronto leads 2-1. There goes Miller back in the net, trying to center it. It's flipped to the boards, where Zazzle shot it along the boards and down the ice. They'll call this one icing, or Jeff Brown coming back, icing against Toronto.
Well,
Checking a 1-goal lead may not be smart.
Pat Burns has got the matchup he wants against this most dangerous threesome of Janney and Hull. And when you add Brown to the mix on the point, Pat knows this is the line that's most likely going to cause most of the trouble. And they've got Lowry out there now to do a little forechecking and taking Miller off. Jeff Brown, who's been the most dangerous defenseman offensively on either team, watch him come off the point or jump into a rush to attempt to tie this game up.
Hall stays on with Janney and Lowry. So Zazzle remains on, and he wins the draw from Brett Hull. Around the net, Lefebvre chased by Hull. Lefebvre gets it high down the ice and goes over the glass this time. And that stops the play again, and another face-off inside the Leaf line.
Well, the Leafs are going to dare the St. Louis Blues to make a mistake, a bad pinch or a turnover in the neutral zone, and then hoping they can jump on it for the next goal. The Leafs have been an excellent team all season at protecting a lead. They don't score a lot of goals, and you don't get 99 points if you don't play good defense when you're a below-average goal-scoring team.
Clark scored at 2:58 of the first, stealing a puck inside the Blues line. Felsner on a Blues power play from Miller and Brown tied it. Andrechuk the go-ahead goal for Toronto at 16:25 of the second. That's the way it is now. 2-1, Toronto. Leafs get it out. They're happy to do that. Berg chasing. Berg in there against Butcher. Played it out front of the net. Down goes Joseph to stop that close-in attempt by Peter Zazzle. Brown takes a pass at center. Comes up to the Leaf line. Janney tries to go in. Shoots it back in the net for Hall. He's covered. Nice play inside the Leaf line by Eastwood to intercept the pass before anybody could get a shot. Puck shot to center again. The Blues are on it. The Leafs break it up. McCown ahead to Clark. Clark was hit hard by Quintal and knocked down. Clark comes back looking for him. There's Clark. Can't stop the Blues rush. It's inside the Leaf line where Ella comes back. And it's called. At the line, 11:20 remaining in the third period. 2-1, Toronto.
Well, Wendell Clark, who usually is on the donating end of good body checks, took a good one here from number 33, Stefan Cantel. Cantel's a big boy. Clark saw him coming after he dumped the puck into the St. Louis zone. Took the hit, bounced back up, but ready for action. These two young guys, Manderville and Eastwood, have got Clark going. This is his best game of this series.
The Leafs move up to center. Ellen shoots it in. Joseph stopping it for Barron. Barron's pass, finding Felsner. Felsner up to the Blues line. A lead pass up to the Leaf line. Emerson, oh, great save by Potvin! Loose puck, and Potvin made probably his best save of the hockey game. He was moving to the left post of the shot. A beautiful shot going to the right side, and Potvin shot out the right pad. Full stretch to stop that one.
Nelson Emerson was the shooter, and he was bearing in off the right wing. Not only did it not go in on the original shot, there it is off his toe, but a nice job by Rouse to tie up Bozon, and then it hits Barron's skate and bounces off the post. And Potvin got his eye on it the whole time and puts his goal stick out. Barron going to the net, like St. Louis Blues defensemen do every once in a while. That went off his skate, off the post, and stayed out.
Close call for the St. Louis Blues. It is still 2-1 Toronto Maple Leafs. 9:01 into the third period. Boy, this series has been a pressure cooker, has it not? Anderson's long pass. Foligno giving chase. Joseph out of the net. Hooked it away. High on the glass. The Leafs keep it in. Foligno looking for it against Barron. Barron circles back. Gives it to Bozon. Rink wide. That play goes high at the far side, and it's fired in by Felsner. Potvin out of the net. He saw Emerson come in. And the Leaf player McCown covered the swift skating Emerson. He was in looking for it.
Well, Nelson Emerson's been a dangerous customer. Great speed. He's got a good shot. And for a small guy, I mean small in stature, he plays a big game. Bowling Green State University. He was a star before playing in Peoria and then now in St. Louis.
There are the shots of the third. 8-4 in favor of the Blues, and that should show you the territorial advantage the Blues have had. Mind you, they started the period with a power play, but they've been coming at the Leafs. Catching up on the shot clock, which is 31-26 overall now, but have not been able to put one by Potvin. It is still 2-1 Toronto. And the Leafs are being very careful to check the St. Louis Blues. Here's a pass picked off. Shot in and shot out. Zumbo up to Hull. Hull put a high one over the glass. 10:08 left in the third period.
Well, Bob Berry playing Hull a little more, as we thought in this period. He's out there with on a line right now with Janney and Shanahan. So Bob Berry's getting Hull out there on a regular basis, and he's leaning heavily on his top scoring forwards, Emerson, Shanahan, Janney, and Hull. And you're going to see Jeff Brown stay out there a lot more this period as Bob Berry's St. Louis Blues are hunting for that tying goal. Let's see what the top offensive players have done in the playoffs to date. In this series, pretty even.
Toronto winning these face-offs, which are so very important near their own blue line. And Elliott cruises down the left wing, allowed to come in. Takes his shot. Joseph the save on the short side. Elliott turns and ripped another one, but hit the Blues player Shanahan with that. Emerson racing away, now winding up. Emerson has to slide it along the blue line. Here's Butcher moving up over center. The Blues bring it in. Gill is there. Leafs get it to the line and out to center ice. Zensel nearly caught up to it. Leafs slap it in over the St. Louis line. And they're trying to keep the Blues off stride. Gilmore and Andrechuk are on now with Borshevsky. 9:25 left in the third. 2-1 Toronto. The crowd getting restless. Come on and move it, Blues. Butcher gets it up over the line, but that's it. And the Leafs dump it back in. Shot on the boards in the zone. Rich Sutter allowed it to roll on for Basson. He is charging in. Basson goes back in the net, hit the side of the goal as he tried to center it. The Leafs get back. And they try to move it out, and they get it to the line. Zombo takes a shot. That missed everyone in front of Potvin. Andrechuk. He saw Borshevsky. Gilmore with him. It is dropped for Gilmore, but broken up, and the Blues are turning. Back in. The pass up to the Leaf line. That's broken up. Here's Gilmore sliding one in off the boards, and they want to make changes. 8:35 remaining in the third now. It is Toronto by a goal, 2-1. The Blues move up and shoot it in. Knocked down by the goaltender Potvin for Elliott, for Foligno. And it's Anderson finding some room down that right side. Anderson goes around the net. One hand on the stick. And he made the play in front. Backhander by Foligno missed. Barron back at the goal and starting the Blues the other way. He's up to center ice. Shot it into the Toronto zone for Elliott. Ellett took a swing at it. It does get out. The Leafs are changing as the play goes on. 7:55 to play in the third. It is 2-1 Toronto here in Game 4 as they try to even the series and get home ice advantage back again. Blues have that now by winning in Toronto in Game 2. Winning here in Game 3. Zazzle lost his stick. He fell. The Blues are moving up to center. Butcher slides a pass ahead. They're over the line. Here's Butcher coming in. Around the net. He's tied up back of the goal. Fine move by Lefebvre on Big Garth Butcher. And the Leafs trying to relieve the pressure. They get it out to Osborne. Berg trying to get loose. Osborne shot. That'll be deflected. And it'll go into the crowd. 7 minutes and 9 seconds remaining in the third period. And another tight one.
In my dream, I'm on a game show.
Welcome back to On Demand, where it's time for round 2. And the question is, the efficiency of 342 cases of green Argyle socks. Correct. Your customers...
2,000 SKUs.
You don't know the answers?
It's like they know what's coming.
Where? Maple Avenue.
What does it mean?
You're playing catch-up because you're not responsive. You need your answers faster.
The Chinook is here. At 36-2, it won't be for long.
I have spent a weekend in Vegas
without a hotel room.
I've given a toast at a wedding
that I wasn't even invited to.
I have French kissed a French woman.
I have called shotgun
11 hours before a road trip.
I've eaten condiments as a meal.
I have dated Carmen Electra's cousins,
friends,
sister.
Oh, keep up the good work, gentlemen. Coors Light, the silver bullet.
Sylvain Lefebvre has been a tower of strength for the Leafs tonight. He's got a stick that's longer than the playoffs, and there is a good example of him putting it to good use with that long poke check.
Here's Todd Gill, shot, score! Todd Gill from the blue line took a shot low, and it caught Joseph off stride just enough so that the puck got by him, and the Leafs have a 2-goal lead. They're now up 3-1.
Todd Gill gets his 8th point of the playoffs. It's a draw one and a long shot that goes right through Joseph. That is the first mistake he's made in this series. Whether he made any in the Chicago series, we know not many. But Todd Gill on a routine shot from the point gives the Leafs a 3-1 lead with 7:05 to go.
12:55 indeed, the time of that goal. The shot by Gill through Curtis Joseph. And that's a 3-1 Maple Leaf lead now. The Leafs have been very patient in this third period. They've been all back, Harry, checking the Blues inside the line and really frustrating them. No real hot scoring chances. Not many anyway. Potvin did have to make 1 or 2 big ones. Here's Clark now. He just missed. Big rebound comes to the line, and Hull and Janney have a 2-on-1. Hull going for the net. Janney coming in. Janney! And he fanned on the attempted pass. Uh-oh. The Leaf player thrown into the boards by Lowry on a real hard hit from behind. I think it's Rouse. And he's slow to get up.
Well, that's a major penalty. It should be a major penalty. I mean, that was a hit from directly behind. The kind, if you go into the boards head first, you could break your neck. Dave Lowry's going to get 2, but he should get 5. Right here. Those are the kind you should be gone for the rest of the game.
That is a real dangerous hit from behind by Lowry. He gets a minor penalty.
For a major infraction. And the St. Louis Blues are complaining bitterly, Craig Janney, that he was pulled down on the rush just before Lowry gets the boarding penalty. Now Janney, who can really handle the puck, tries that outside-inside move. Right right there, and he beats Ellett, and as he's going to shoot it, Rouse hooks him, and then Lowry comes in and throws the check. Now Janney, who's a skier, he plants his feet for his moves, and Clark comes back with a strong defensive effort to get Hull out of the way. And Janney's just about to shoot when he's hooked, and that's why St. Louis are complaining. And of course the Leafs similarly complaining, wanting a major penalty. St. Louis are complaining about the no call. The Leafs are complaining about the call on Lowry that wasn't severe enough.
Bob Berry thought, yes, a call should have been made just before that check on Rouse. No call was made. Lowry took Rouse into the boards from behind. He gets a minor.
Now here's the skier. You see him skiing, Janney, but if you play the puck, he sifts by you. And Rouse just hooked him at the last second. But this is a major penalty here. Dave Lowry was lucky he isn't in the dressing room.
As it stands now, Toronto leads in the game 3-1 with 6:21 remaining. And they have a power play now. But the Blues, even though they have to kill a penalty, have to continue to think, score. They're down 2 goals. Coming out to center, Gilmore and Krushelnyski with Foligno. Foligno passes off to the right. Gill, the defenseman, moving in back of the net. Gill takes a look, sees Ellett back there. Foligno dropped back in the hole left by Gill. In front of the net is Gilmore. Krushelnyski digs it out. Krushelnyski to the line. Leafs pass it around. On the outside is Gilmore. Gilmore to Gill. On this side is Ellett. To Gill again. Into Gilmore. Took the pass off the boards. Krushelnyski checked his man. And Foligno now gives him the puck. Krushelnyski to Gilmore. Coming out. Trying to work somebody loose. Gilmore fooled Hull with a good move. The shot hit a leg and bounced back at the net. There's Foligno on it. He dumped it around the goal. Stopped by Ellett. He fired it to the far corner. Gilmore back to Ellett near the line. He had to make a quick move to stop it. Gilmore again. 45 seconds left of the power play. A shot high. Rebound back in the net for Foligno. Foligno will look back to the line to Gill. He gets ready. No shot. Gilmore set it up. The Blues are on it. And they bring it out. Wilson stops at his own line. With 30 seconds left in the penalty, they go in anyway. Here's a shot that Potvin stopped with the blocker. Brown is upended on the other side, and he's hurt as McCown checked Brown going in on Potvin.
Well, the Leafs made a horrible change to allow what looked like a 2-on-4 turn into a 2-on-1, and I'm sure Pat Burns wonders why the Leafs came off when they did. Now don't forget, St. Louis is short-handed. Now watch the players coming to the bench here. 3 Leafs go to the bench and give the St. Louis Blues a 2-on-1. And McCown comes roaring out and knocks down Brown, who had jumped into the rush. So they recovered, but it wasn't a very good idea.
Toronto leads 3-1 with 4:42 left to play in the third period.
Let's have another look at the change now. Their Leafs are tired. They've been out there. 3 guys go over, 4 go over. But the 4 coming on, only McCowan gets out there fast enough to be at all involved in the play defensively.
.12:55, Todd Gill from Gilmore. Made it 3-1.
You mentioned that they'd be going for the goal shorthanded, Bob, and Brett Hull has not killed penalties much this year, but he was out there at the start of this penalty kill, and he's back out with 21 seconds left in Lowry's penalty. So they're definitely going to look for an opportunity to turn this penalty killing situation into a shorthanded goal.
Clark in the first at 2:58 unassisted, picking up an errant pass inside the Blues line. Felsner on a St. Louis power play from Miller and Brown to tie it in the first. And then Andrechuk gave the Leafs a 2-1 lead in the second 16:25 from Gillen Gilmore. Gillen Gilmore again getting together on the third goal for Toronto at 12:55. Gill scoring it from the blue line. 4:30 remaining in the third period. And an icing called against Toronto.
Well, the Leafs have to be careful not to be drawn into any penalties. Red Hull cut, you can see, on the left cheek. By the time the playoffs are over, if you don't have stitches, they won't let you put your name on the Stanley Cup.
Crowd here in St. Louis, well, they're sitting back a bit now on that third Leafs goal.
Tony Herkus, who led the International League in scoring this year, former St. Louis Blues, is enjoying this game as you and I are, Bob.
Down, had his rink-wide pass knocked down and cut in half. Lefebvre dumped it in there for Berg. He's in on goal. Hit the side of the net. Puck was bouncing. Had a tough time to get a decent shot away, but hit the side of the net. Shanahan is stopped. The Blues move it up. Butcher to the far side with 4 minutes remaining in the third. That is Brown centering it. Lifted out by Jamie McCown. Butcher back to pick it up. And the play call. 3:53 left.
I know what I'm getting my parents for Christmas. All the songs they've loved for years. From the Beach Boys, Bonnie Raitt, Steve Miller, and Bob Seger. Bob Seger's Greatest Hits Volume 2 also includes 2 new previously unreleased songs. And the best part, they're available everywhere. Oh yeah, and don't forget Meatloaf.
Last time on Saturday's Heroes.
Oh, they were quite excited. Most of them really didn't believe it, and some of them actually had a few tears.
Kids live their dreams on Air Canada Center Ice. Saturday at 1 p.m. only on Leafs TV. A new tradition. Only on Leafs TV.
Bob Cole and Harry Neal at the arena in St. Louis, Missouri. Game 4 of the Norris Division Final. The Blues are leading the series 2-1. They split the first 2 in Toronto in 2-1 double overtime victories. The Leafs the first, the Blues the second, and the Blues won for Game 3 here. The Leafs are leading this one, trying to tie the series before going to Game 5 at Maple Leaf Gardens on Tuesday. Here's Emerson coming in. Hot pass, stick save. Looked pretty cool stopping that one. In at the side of the net, the Blues come in. Potvin down. Shot missed. Shanahan again. Deflected high over the net. Blues are pressing. Penalty coming up, Toronto. It is going to be Rouse of the Toronto Maple Leafs who gets the penalty here for dumping Shanahan after Shanahan just missed scoring for the Blues.
Well, the Leafs are making it tougher for themselves than they should. St. Louis were all around the net. There's the penalty. Boy, it's an awful late call. The hand goes up. I don't think it was tripping. It might have been interference, but nevertheless, the Leafs are 3 minutes and 25 seconds away from tying the series, but they got to play at 2 minutes of that. Short-handed.
Whatever it's called a minor penalty. And it comes here at 16:35. And that gets the Leaf coaching staff rather concerned. Curtis Joseph is over at the bench. With this time remaining, he'll go back in, of course. 3:25 left in the third period. The Blues have outshot Toronto in this third, 10-7. Overall, it's 34-28 in favor of the Maple Leafs. Andrechuk, the go-ahead goal at 16:25 of the second period. Gill and Gilmore, the insurance at 12:55 of this third. Unfan stopped that one as Janney fired it at him. Janney slipped it into the corner, trying to play it back at the net to Shanahan. Hull getting out front. Potvin finding it. It's knocked out front of the net and cleared to the line and just out. 1:39 left in the penalty. Here's Emerson. Full head of steam this time. Can't control the puck with that speed. And Lefebvre put him off stride. Hull stopped it. Comes in with the pass to Janney. Janney winding up on the outside. The drive. That's blocked. McCown looking forward. He can't send it out of the zone, though. It is Janney again on this power play in St. Louis. Shot. Thought he had the far side. He did not. It is Hull keeping it in. Back of the goal is Janney. Looking for somebody open. Everybody ready. Caught. It is Janney slipping it back to Hull. He had to turn and a bad pass. Comes all the way to center. 1 minute left in the penalty. A steal by Gilmore coming in on Joseph. He's hauled down behind the net. He falls on the puck, gets up, looks for it, kicks it out front. 50 seconds left in the power play. The Blues now. They almost have to score one here. It is 2:10 left in the third. And in on the boards, Dennis Miller finding Emerson at the blue line. He lost it. The Leafs shoot it down the ice. Joseph out to stop it. 2 minutes left, third period. 34 seconds remaining in the Leaf penalty to Rouse. 3-1, Toronto Maple Leafs leading the St. Louis Blues. And the Blues come in here. There's Miller for the net. The Leafs are all back, playing fine defensive hockey now. And it's shot away. 1:40 remaining in the third. The Leafs with a 2-goal spread, and the Blues confused a bit here. Zombo with 10 seconds left in the Leaf penalty. Played it up to Bozon. He's nailed. Puck is loose. Sent back down the ice by Berg. Now the penalty is over to Rouse, and he's out of the penalty box. 1:20 left in regulation time. The Leafs trying to hang on. The Blues trying to sweep it here in St. Louis. Shot into center ice. 1:10 left. Fired in by Felsner. In off the boards. The Blues pick it up. It is stopped right in front of the net. Joseph was inching out of the goal. He has to go back in now as the Leafs shoot it down the ice. That's icing with 54.2 seconds remaining in regulation time. And with the face-off coming up inside the Leaf line, I'm sure that Joseph will go to the bench. He hasn't yet, mind you. These are the people who put this telecast together for you and me. Head of TV Network Sports, Alan Clark, the executive producer, Ron Harrison. Mark Haskin is our producer, and our director is Dan Parrish. Paul McKeegan, Karen LaPointe, Peter Rutherford, and David Seeley, all along to help us get this show going. And it's nearly done for today. This part of the doubleheader. There's another part, of course, tonight, when Vancouver is in LA for their fourth game. And that will be seen on Molson Hockey Night in Canada on CBC starting at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. Yes, Curtis Joseph does indeed go to the bench. Timeout has been called. 54.2 seconds left, Harry. And the Leafs showing a fine defensive mode at this stage.
Yeah, they sure have played a strong game. Felix Potvin has been sharp. The Leafs have not made him stop a lot of tough shots. Probably the smartest defensive game the Leafs have played this series.
Under a minute left in regulation time. Toronto trying to tie the series and set the stage for Game 5. Maple Leaf Gardens, 7:30 Eastern Time, the start of that one on Tuesday night. They lead 3-1, and the face-off, they're all edgy, to the right of Felix Potvin, who has played another solid game in goal for the Maple Leafs. The Blues have had 28 shots, have put one by him. Leafs have had 34, have scored 3 on Curtis Joseph, who's now watching from the bench. Extra skater on. The Leaf player, Zezel, who's been great on face-offs, is waved out. Nobody wants to come in.
Krushelnyski getting a little tip from Zezel before the draw against Bassett.
Here we go. the final minute, which is taking an eternity. Finally dropped in. Janney after it. It gets back to the line. Hall is there. Hall miscues. And a loose puck for Zezel. He has the empty net. There it is. Zezel with the empty net goal. And the Toronto Maple Leafs take a 4-1 lead here in St. Louis in this fourth game of the best of 7.
Well, a must game for the Leafs, obviously, and they played a very strong defensive game. And only on a few occasions did they allow St. Louis to take over offensively at all. And Peter Zezel puts the game on ice for sure with the empty net goal. Hull mishandles the puck at the point, and Zezel tips it by him and walks in to make sure that he ends it without doubt. 43 seconds to go.
19:16, the official time of that goal, with just a fraction over 43 seconds left. Zezel gets the goal. And that was unassisted. Skating away from his own zone down the left side, and took lots of time to throw it into the net, which was vacated by Curtis Joseph. He's back in there now, and Bob Berry has to get back to the drawing board.
Well, Bob, it's a 2 out of 3 now with the Leafs having the hammer. That is the home ice advantage. And this is the first playoff loss St. Louis has taken here in the St. Louis Arena. So it's Tuesday night in Maple Leaf Gardens and Thursday back here. We know that for sure.
38 seconds left in this one. Toronto 4, St. Louis 1. Leafs shoot the puck out down the ice. Joseph watching it, doesn't reach the goal line. No icing. 20 seconds left. And it's Rick Sutter across center. Tries a shot on Potvin off his blocker. Into the crowd. 14.8 seconds left. And look out. Tempers rising again.
Basil McRae's in the middle of most of it, most times. Not a great time.
He wants Foligno.
Oh, Foligno suckered him behind the net there.
No, he
knocked him down.
He chased Foligno, the linesman. He tripped really in the back of the net, Harry. And the linesman, Wayne Bonney, was right there to make sure he does not get up. Foligno skating away from the melee. I don't think any penalties. Yes, there must have been penalties because McRae is leaving now for the St. Louis dressing room.
And Mike Foligno will be going in the other direction. Not the time to have any kind of a scene. I don't think it would help St. Louis's case in game number 5, and not going to do anything for the Leafs in game 5.
An elbowing penalty and a misconduct penalty to McRae.
Well, here's why the penalty occurred and why the Leafs are upset for no reason at all. McRae elbows Zezel and then has to put up with all the Leafs. A bonehead play, to say the least.
Well, he gets a minor and a misconduct, so he's done for the night. And the Blues are done for this day. I should say afternoon. It's still morning in some parts of the country. Just over 5 seconds left now. The Blues back one more time. And Hedican one more shot. Potvin didn't bat an eye and caught that one right on the horn. And the Leafs come back to defeat the St. Louis Blues here at the arena in St. Louis, Missouri. 4-1. And they now have tied the series at 2 apiece to set the stage for a best 2 of 3 now, which starts Tuesday back in Toronto.
Well, Toronto played a very solid game. And Pat Burns said that they had some passengers in game 3 that didn't pay their fare. He made some lineup changes, and I think everyone paid full price on the SS Maple Leaf tonight. And when 20 players show up and play Pat Burns style, the Leafs more often than not win.
It's time to celebrate the greatest game on ice. Hockey Canada Week kicks off the start to a new season November 8th to 15th, and we're inviting you to get involved and get in the game. Minor hockey associations who participate in Hockey Canada Week can enter to win $10,000 in hockey equipment and products, compliments of Easton. For more information, visit the Hockey Canada website at hockeycanada.ca. So celebrate hockey and get in the game.
I'll let you off the warning this time.
Mona.
Miss me?
Oh, yeah.
Show me.
How's that? Snap and send digital images phone to phone or by email. The new camera phone from LG. Life's good.
The best of three series will begin in Toronto Tuesday night. The Molson Three Stars in this afternoon's 4-1 Maple Leaf victory. Felix Potvin, the Leaf netminder, has been a star throughout the series, and today gets top billing. Wendell Clark, the number 2 star, and the 3rd star, making it a sweep for Toronto. Sylvain Lefebvre. Again, the final 4-1 Toronto, the series even at 2, and head coach Pat Burns joins me. Your thoughts on this game, Pat?
Well, you know, the first thing I told all players to make sure they call their mums this morning. I called mine, hi mom, first thing when I got up. And the players did that, and then we went out and we said, hey, look, we had a good practice yesterday, we had a good meeting last night. And the guys who we wanted to, you know, to come out of the gate, guys like Clark really came out of the gate tonight, and we really needed him. And made a couple of line changes, and, you know, we sat Cullen and Pearson out for now, and there's a lot of hockey left, and they know they're going to get back in there. But I thought we took the game to them, we were patient, and that's what we needed to do.
You seem to have a magical hand making these changes. Pearson, Manderville, and Eastwood was a nice line for you for a time, and then you've taken both Eastwood and now Pearson out, and Clark, and that combination looked good.
Well, I've been tinkering more with the younger players, probably Krushelnyski and Foligno in the Detroit series, but as it goes on and further goes on, you got to go with experience. I think that's the main thing, and yeah, I've put some guys in, take some guys out, and just get everybody hungry and ready to play.
Anything you've been doing, especially with the defense, to try and get matchups, and who's impressed you in terms of these 5? And now, of course, you had Mironov dressed today.
Well, I thought Mironov really responded to the call. We needed an extra guy, especially on the power play. He was there, and all the defensive played well. I asked them yesterday if they were tired. They said no, but I said we'll have an extra guy in there especially for the power play. And I thought Mironov played well there.
Tell me about Potvin versus Joseph. We've all talked, and you said you can't dwell on Curtis, but gee, Felix is going to get headlines out of this effort.
Well, hey, I've said it all along that Felix is, you know, we have something going in French. I call him the best goalie in the league in French. Before every game, he looks over and sort of smiles at me. I think he is. I think he's an excellent goaltender. Joseph is very good, and we're not taking nothing away from him, but I think we have a hang of a